Greetings, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What's going on? What's going on? Shout out to the most patient audience on earth. I appreciate ya. Shout out to the most patient audience on earth. I do appreciate y'all. I be running late. Everything be going wrong. Had some major technical stuff going on that went wrong before the show. Couldn't find nothing. But I figured out some things that I need to figure out that I think is helping the picture. Y'all can't see how messed up it was. But what I did actually helped. So it was worth it on my end for being late. He said BR with the fresh haircut. Kinda. I mean, I cut my own hair. So it's just a matter of, pro tip, just get the clippers, put the guard on, and then just go all at the same length all the way around. If you got a steady hand and can, just line it up and then adjust the guard a little bit and just nick it, just fade it just a little bit right there. You can cut your own hair. It ain't perfect. It ain't no style. It ain't no technique. It's just, it's a sufficient haircut. I give myself a sufficient haircut. Oh, thank you. She said the haircut looks nice. I appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to all of y'all that make it in bright and early, even though we technically doing an afternoon show right now, but all of you that make it in bright and early, I appreciate it. Shout out to Uneducated Lame. He says, aloha from Hawaii. Oh shit, you in Hawaii? That's what's up. Getting up early to catch the good grown man hour. Word. Shout out to you. I didn't know you was out there in Hawaii. That is what's up. Uneducated Lane came through with a super chat too. He says, putting in now in case I fall back to sleep. Yes, rest up. I don't know what time it is out there, so I can't really say. But I figure I'm looking at it like it's you in the morning. So I'm like, okay, you must have had a long night on vacation in Hawaii, so you need some rest. But shout out to Snuggles, shout out to E Capone, shout out to Leon 00008. He says, hurry up and start the show before I super chat Cynthia G some money. LOL. I've heard that it's dudes in this space who be over there super chatting Cynthia G. I don't believe it. What I do believe is that it's dudes who not really in this space, but they lurk around this space. Low-key detractors of this space, low-key people that, that put the cape on for the sisterhood and all they crazy stuff that they put out there on YouTube, but they come lurk around in this space and try to smuggle in little nonsense arguments. I think those people be getting caught super chatting Cynthia G, but by and large, I don't think people who really rock with us be over there just throwing money in the air. I don't believe that. But anyway, Bagley 232 in the building says Black Gender War, the gift that keeps on giving. Listen, the stream I did on Friday, I titled it Gender War. Actually, that's what's actually up on the screen right now. Y'all could just barely see it because I got my banner more visible. I want to figure out a way to get this set up where you can see the monitor in the back and you can see my whole banner and branding and logo. I got to get it set up where you can see all that at the same time. When I finally complete my vision and have a setup, and have, regular in studio guests with multiple camera angles. I got 3 different cameras already. But when I complete that vision, the camera angle will be changing and you'll be able to see everything, you know. I don't know. I gotta tweak the setup a little bit, but right now it's working. It's sufficient. But what I was trying to say to y'all is that's actually the show that's on right there. I'm doing behind the scenes stuff right now. And I gotta get up. Y'all about to see me get up and walk around. I normally don't let y'all see that because I normally don't have pants on. But y'all about to see me get up and walk around because I want to get rid of that little black strip that keep going up and down. That's me pulling up my pants. Out here sagging like a pookie. Y'all should be able to hear me on this mic. The beauty of having 2 mics. Y'all can still hear me talk while I'm doing technical behind the scenes stuff. One of these days one of these fine days I will have a staff. That probably got rid of it right there. Yeah, it did. Pro tip. Pro tip for the people who trying to get monitors in the background now. Shit. Pro tip is make the screen bright and you don't get that black line floating up and down. Little pro tip. All right. Shit, drop my mic. All right. I appreciate you. Like I said, the most patient audience on earth. Most patient audience on earth. Y'all deal with me when I'm doing all my backstage, behind the scenes footage. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. But shout out to you. He said the Black Gender War, the gift that keeps on giving. What I was trying to say is that stream that you see in the background right there with me, Rada God, Brenda Mumia. I think I can't say her last name. She got a nice last name. Mumia or something like that. And Jackie Jack, who y'all know quite well from the chat, and the one and only Game Changer, and the one and only the Naked Truth with the Net World Views. I think I got her name, her channel right, but Annette, Annie. They were the stars of the show, and I listen. I developed a certain love for Annette during that show. It was she made the show amazing, her and Game Changer, and I definitely enjoyed the back and forth. But I titled it Gender War because when people talk about gender war, they talk about it from a perspective like it's some negative thing, but really I look at it like just men and women talking out and debating various ideas and concepts when it comes to just rather it's dating, mating, relationships, just overall interactions in society between men and women. That's ultimately the traditional battle of the sexes, and I like that. I like that men are speaking up, weighing in on these conversations. So I don't look at I titled that show that we're probably going to be doing reoccurring hopefully every Friday. I try to get the band back together again on Friday, and yeah, and it's titled that because I do like men and women debating the ideas and the concepts. It was a part towards the end where it got too personal, and it was I did I apologize to Annette that it did get too personal, and so that part was wrong. But the overall debate and the banter back and forth, the jokes and everything, that was fine. But overall, it don't need to get personal. Don't need to be personal attacks. But overall, it was a great show. I loved it. I hope we get the whole crew back. And so yeah, but that's what's playing in the background right there. And yeah, it was awesome. So it was awesome. It was awesome. But Dapper Gents in the building. Dapper Gents in the building with the $10 super chat. I do appreciate that. Car designer Chris in the building says support. Shout out to you. Everybody coming through. He said, how much is a cut now? You talking about a haircut? I don't know. I think anywhere from $15 to $20. I cut my own. That's why my beard don't be edged up sometimes. And that's why when I turn around, you catch the kitchen don't be edged up. Sometimes I don't get certain spots. But anyway, Hakeem in the building with the $5 super chat. He says, from Nicki Minaj to a repeat offender like Jemele, yeah, they're trying to silence black men through shame language. Don't get me started. That word shame. They all right, don't get me started. I almost went there. Yeah, but they trying to get black men to be silenced through shaming language. So that's how you know black men are making waves. That's how you know black men are making waves. But shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. We about to go ahead and get into this and dig right into this thing. Let me see. Let me get my headsets. We got 156 people in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Alicia Sinclair, have you ever been on my show? Have you taken the link before? I can't remember if me and you just talked or debated back and forth through the chat or if you've actually been on the panel. I can't remember. Have you been on the panel before? Yes. All right. When I do that show on Friday, the gender war show, as I call it, we rotating in some new contestants. My email is in the about section. If you're interested in coming on for that show, hit my email because on Friday I'm going to do a another co-ed panel on Friday. And so, we had 3 people. We may add new roster members. Oh, I remember that. You called up talking about Fresh. It was about Fresh and Fit. Yeah, I clipped it. I knew I remembered you. I clipped it and made a whole little separate clip about that. Yeah, and I liked you. It was a good conversation. Hit my email. The Beautiful Lie in the building. Hey, be careful with that. The good brother El Wapo's channel is called Beautiful Lies. Don't be biting people's swag out here. Don't be biting people's swag. That's a major offense in the manosphere. Just in case you didn't know. That is a major offense around these parts. But he says, Jamila Hill 2017, straight black men are the white people of black people. 2020, black men just want better access to patriarchy. Yeah. He says they don't actually want to dismantle it. Why y'all don't like it? Dude, don't be laying out my whole argument for today. Don't be laying out my whole point for today. Don't be doing it. No. We can add without taking anybody off. No, the English woman is here to stay if she wants to stay. Annette is here to stay if she wants to stay. I liked her. Some of y'all get triggered when somebody has a position that's counter your position. Listen, if you got a position, I don't care how much I disagree with it, if you can argue it with confidence and stand on what you're saying, you're good with me. We can chop it up. We can talk. We can debate. That makes for great entertainment. I don't know why y'all fronting. That made for excellent entertainment. Like I said, I don't like how it got personal towards the end. That part wasn't cool. That part wasn't cool. So I did apologize to her for that. It got personal. And but that part wasn't cool. But yeah, Jackie Jack, Annette is fun. She has to stay. As long as she wants to be here, the door is open on the Friday show for her. She she stole the show. That was fun. That was fun. No, I greatly I greatly enjoyed that. But all right, let's what we getting into here? Almost 200 people in here. We haven't even got started. So he's 16 minutes in. It is time, as Mediocre Tutorials and Review says, it is time to get active. But anyway, y'all can't see that. But thank you for that super chat, The Beautiful Lie, even though I clowned you for having a similar name to El Wapo. But thank you for that super chat. You definitely made good points on that one. Going forward, where we at? All right, Jemele Hill tweeted. In the tweet, well, this is what her tweet was predicated off of. This can y'all see that? Yeah, okay, y'all can see that. All right. This is what her tweet was predicated
and she says,
off
the only
of.
thing I need now is a man.
Let me say, and y'all probably saw this go viral. Y'all probably saw this go viral. This was some guy. I don't know if he's just home base is on TikTok or TikTok clipped it. I don't know who this guy is. I have no idea, but Jemele Hill shared this clip and then she made the tweet that we're going to talk about. She shared this clip and then she made the tweet that we're going to discuss here.
Literally, she says, I got a good job. I make very, very good money. And she says, the only thing I need now is a man. It's like, yo, like, it's like, who wants you? Who wants you? You right. Like, once you have achieved these things, you have unfortunately disqualified yourself.
Ooh,
and
shit.
And what it is these, because and this is the thing. I'm not
blaming
the
women. Are gonna hate him for that shit.
No, see,
they are gonna hate him for that. They I can't wait to put this shit.
Literally, she says, I got.
Now, all right. One thing, shout out to them for just going with a white background. That's a it looked very professional, but it's low key taking the cheap way out. But anyway, but it looked professional. It looked like they in the damn Matrix, ready to load in, guns, lots of them. That's where it looked like they at. But all right, anyway, to what the brother said, just give my brief opinion. To give my brief opinion on that, he says once you accomplish all that, then you've become disqualified. Let me make sure I heard that right. Let me make sure I heard what he said.
Got a good job. I make very, very good money. And she says, the only thing I need now is a man. It's like, yo, like, it's like, who wants you? Who wants you? You right. Like, once you have achieved these things, you have unfortunately disqualified yourself.
Ooh.
All right. Now, that sounds like somebody trying to take Kevin Samuels, take the points that Kevin Samuels popularized and just run amok with them and be on steroids with them. That's saying just because you accomplish those things that you've now disqualified yourself. No. So that's where that what he just said right there is part, and I don't know who this dude is. He probably got 1 million subs somewhere. I'm sitting here talking about him, but like what he said right there, that was part of the reason why I gave Nicki Minaj the benefit of the doubt when she said, dudes on TikTok or wherever, because I'm thinking she probably just heard some dudes on TikTok saying some goofy stuff. And I was like, all right, maybe she ain't all, and she ain't entrenched into the manosphere and wasn't directing that, and so I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I gave it the benefit of the doubt because it'd be a lot of TikTok clips pop up, and it could be something that somebody said, somebody who's more learned or well read on these issues, that has broke down some stuff, maybe even written some books on this stuff, and then somebody get on their phone and TikTok and just say some shit. And they put it in such a shorthand way to where it's like, dude, come on, be quiet. Or just not be quiet, just be more precise. The precise thing to say in that situation is that she haven't disqualified herself because she became successful. The more precise thing to say is that when a lot of women become successful like that, it tends to come with an attitude. There's because she's in a situation where she don't need you. She don't need a man. She want a man, but the the man doesn't have as much leverage in the relationship. She could be happy with him. But it's not a situation where she need him, so she don't feel like she ever need to back down or fall back or capitulate or acquiesce to this man, because she's like, what you doing for me that I can't do for myself? Not to mention the type of mindset that it takes in order to become that successful is a hard driven mindset. You got to be all go no quit. You got to be kind of pushy. You got to be competitive. You got to be combative. You got to be somebody who's up for the fight and like to fight, damn near. People don't make it to the top in corporate America unless they some cutthroat go-getters. I mean, like I hate to use movie references, but things that we can all see. Like look at Jordan Belfort if you watch the Wolf of Wall Street. You just see, like, you can see how some people are wired a certain way. The people that become successful, I mean, some people just stumble into it by accident and they're making a lot of money just because they, they was a slacker, but they, got decent enough grades. They mama and daddy sent them to the right school, and then they, just moseyed along through the class and just stumbled to a degree and got a good career, and they just mail it in at work and get a good check and live a good life. There's some people like that, but then there's others that go hard as hell. Like it's a certain mindset you got to have to become successful like that. Now that type of mindset, that competitive, that growling, all go no quit, competitive, combative, pushy, all of that is good on a masculine man. That shit don't look good on a feminine woman. So typically the woman who can become successful like that, yeah, she bringing that shit into the relationship. She done worked her way up to where she got a job in some position where she tell people to do. Yeah, she don't check that shit at the door a lot of the time. Some of the time, some of them do, but some of the time, some of them no. They bring that shit everywhere they go. It's a certain mindset, mentality, or personality type. The best way to say it. Jordan Peterson talks a lot about this. It's a certain personality type that becomes successful, and that personality type is normally a personality where that's not conducive to also being soft and feminine. So the point that they're making, if they were to be that precise with it, then nobody would have a problem with what they're saying. But he just shorthanded it and just said, who would want you now? You disqualified yourself. That's why I said he's taking some shit he heard from Kevin Samuels and then just, and then just putting it on steroids and running amok with it without looking at any of the intricate backstory or any other preliminary factors that come with it. And so that's that's where I'm at with this clip right here, where it was just too much of a shorthanded statement. And I criticize it when I see men do that, because if we're going to be engaging in these conversations, we need not to be making bad arguments. And nobody's immune to them completely. Everybody make a bad argument here and there. We are guilty of that. But overall, we do need to sharpen our tools and make a good argument, make better arguments. Shout out to Uncle Stu, the old man on the block, says he is weak for that statement. Question, what is he calling successful? That is a good question. I just assumed he met somebody making a lot of money. I don't think he's weak. I just think he's shorthanding somebody else's better argument. I don't think he's weak. I think he's just making a shorthand version of somebody else's better argument. But shout out to Uncle Stu, the old man on the block. He had an excellent panel. That, look, I was supposed to participate in that panel. It was like 8 people on it. Little Big Nate, Nathan Daly, and a lot of others. I shared it in my community tab. I wasn't able to make it, but I definitely owe Uncle Stu one. So yeah, just let me know. Let me know, and I'll be there. But yeah, I couldn't make it to that one. But no, they had an excellent panel. I did listen in to some of it. A great conversation over there. Highly recommend it. Y'all go check out Uncle Stu. If you don't do nothing, check out that panel because it was a good one. It was a good discussion over there. But yeah, so that was a statement that he made where, you know, men aren't wrong for just weighing in these conversations. And this takes us back to Jemele Hill. It takes us back to Jemele Hill, where she looks at men in these conversations as to be doing this. Now, yeah, I should be able to see that on the screen. Yeah, I should be able to see it on the screen where Jemele Hill says, serious question. Why does it seem like there are so many podcasts / digital talk shows dedicated to belittling women, especially Black women? Maybe I'm unaware, but I don't see a lot of Black women using their platform in similar ways to gaslight and demean Black men. Really, nigga? All right. All right. Here's the deal. And keep this in mind. I was about to do this show. I forgot which day it was. It was the day I had this one in the chamber ready to go, and then Nicki Minaj, dropped a bomb where she basically, as far as I'm concerned, revealed that she's been watching this space and she got smoke for this space. So after Nicki Minaj did that, I pivoted and did what amounts to really a similar show, just on with a bigger celebrity. Gotta hop on that algorithm while it's hot. Yeah, I know how that go. But so I definitely did that. But I did want to come back to this one. Because her statement here dropped at around similar time that Nicki Minaj dropped her slung her shots at the sphere. And that's when around the time that Jemele Hill dropped this statement right there. Serious question. Why does it seem like there are so many podcasts / digital talk shows dedicated to belittling women, especially Black women? Maybe I'm unaware, but I don't see a lot of Black women using their platform in similar ways to gaslight and demean Black men. Okay. Now, one of the names was already mentioned in the chat room, and I don't like to be mentioning the names of these people. I don't. I definitely don't put their names in my titles or their faces in my thumbnails, because I think you do have somewhat of a responsibility. If your channel is big enough, there's certain people you shouldn't help grow. But in the midst of a live stream, I will mention the names here and there. So I'm kind of a part of the problem, but I acknowledge it. But we know the Cynthia G's of the world. I'll be forgetting their names. The Yanni, y'all know the Yanni chick. Y'all know the Paris Milan chick. Y'all know, y'all know Tanya TKO. Y'all know it's a lot of them. I could reel off a lot of them, and they have hundreds of thousands of followers. Some of them in that 300,000 follower territory, and they do this, and they do it they do it nonstop. And then in the midst of them doing what they're doing, there's a lot of smaller channels, a whole divestment sphere. Yep, I'm gonna roll some of Jason Whitlock. No doubt about that. I'm definitely, actually, that's the truth be told. That's where I got this from, because I rock with Jason Whitlock. So I'm gonna roll some of his stuff too, because they had a good discussion about it. But so those are some of the big channels, the ones that have hundreds of thousands of subs at this point. And they growing, they thriving, they ain't going nowhere. Then there's the smaller ones that are in many ways more egregious, even though I named one of their ringleaders. But the fact of the matter is, in those ones, they over there, one, they calling Black men bullet bags. They're saying abort Black male babies. And a lot of the smaller channels, they're doing that. They're doing that in a lot of the smaller channels. I don't really listen to Chrissy, but I know she's a bigger channel, and I don't think she do the bullet bag thing, but I think she's in there on the Paris Milan Yanni Red spectrum with her type of content. I think. I don't know for sure. But the fact of the excuse me, the fact of the matter is, if They're talking about aborting black male babies. Okay. They're talking about horrible, atrocious stuff. And one thing that I don't want us to lose sight of, and we lose sight of this sometimes, we really do. We lose sight of this simple fact that this space did not just out of nowhere kick down the door and start talking shit. No, this space is a counterpunch. It was a this was a counterpunch to what we were seeing and what was being put out there. We offer counter arguments. Now, some would argue that, hey, we need to get on offense, but a lot of times we're on defense reacting to stuff. We're reacting to what we're hearing. This stuff was being put out there, regardless of whether some people knew about it or didn't know about it. If you're in the YouTube algorithm and you see it going on, it's out there and you're reacting to it. Not to mention the views, ideas, and the sentiments, not necessarily, abort black male babies, not that kind of rhetoric, but the views, ideas, and sentiments and perspective of women, particularly black women. It was their voice was out there in media. There was no black male media that really spoke to, spoke to what a lot of men think. When men did produce media and put it out there in the mainstream or whatever, it was still filtered. It was still very filtered, but the females' thoughts, ideas, views, and perspective, they were not filtered. Women own the market. Women own they are the consumers. The commercials are catered to them. The movies, in most cases, are catered to them. A lot of the TV shows, everything that's out there is catered to them. And if something gets out there that offends them, it gets taken down. So they own the narrative. And so men, we grew up thinking that, hey, like I always give the caveman, men, bad, women, good. That's how we grew up thinking. And a lot of us grew up. That's why a lot of us became simps, because we saw the perception of what men were. And in some cases, we probably saw what our actual dad was for some people. And we didn't want to be that problem, to the point that we overcorrected. We overcorrected to the point to where we ended up accepting abuse ourselves. And then men came online to talk about those situations from our perspective. And now we got Jemele Hill saying, why are all these podcasts exist to demean and belittle and degrade women? Meanwhile, as one of the gentleman who super chatted, The Beautiful Lie, pointed out all the things that she just passively said that was demeaning to men. And the reason, if she know about these podcasts, of course Jemele Hill knows about all those other names that I just reeled off that say worse stuff than what we say, but she don't think that that's belittling or demeaning or gaslighting or whatever, because she agree with that shit. And she posts tweets that echo the sentiments of that. So it's a weird little judo they trying to pull when they're trying to say, well, why does these things exist? No, there's pushback and counter narrative, and they got a problem with it. They got a problem with it now. Car designer Chris in the building says the good reason to go to college and get that good job is so you can meet a good man. You just need to turn it off. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. I don't know what you mean by turn it off. I mean, I have my views on that. A lot of people debate about that, but the fact of the matter is, it's I don't think it's that much of a turn off thing. It's about, I say, what's your default setting? If your default setting is a soft feminine woman, that's typically what you're going to be. And if you go into a field where you have to actually work hard and do, masculine work, you could do it if you got the skill set to do it. But if your default is to be softer and feminine, it's going to be more taxing. It's going to be harder for you to do it. You're going to be more exhausted at the end of the day. That's where I'm at with it. Your default setting is not to, she shouldn't have to come home and turn off whatever masculine buildup she had at work. No, her default setting should be feminine. But if she must go to work, if she has to go to work, she has to turn on the masculine. So that's how it should be. But there are some who naturally just on that masculine, aggressive, competitive energy, which has some utility. Not that much utility for me, but there's some utility in that. because she can be competitive out in the labor field, out in the workforce. She can, climb up the corporate ladder. She can make good money. Yeah, it's some good with that. But I want to know what's your default setting. Don't tell me I have to turn it off. Have to turn off all my masculine energy when I get home. No, that should be your default setting. You should have to turn on the masculine energy when you go to work. Now, is anyway. She's married. See, I don't be investigating people's personal life. I said I wonder how well Jemila's marriage is going. See, y'all be in people's personal stuff. I don't get into that. Somebody is saying, what's my Cash App? The Cash App is, let me get that scrolling at the bottom. It's Bernard Riley 99. Make sure you don't forget the 99, because there's some other Bernard Riley out there on Cash App who will take your money and won't give it back. But my Cash App is Bernard Riley 99. Actually, no, I can show it to you like this. I can do you one better. Hold on. I was about to make it scroll on the screen, but I forgot I got on-screen graphics I could pull up. Give me a second. Here we go. And RM is dropping it in the chat room. But moreover, it's right there on the bottom of the screen now. There you go. It's right there in the, no, camera's in reverse. It's right, right there. Right there. I couldn't even point to it. Ms. J says, feminine to some men doesn't work because some men, I think she meant not used to good feminine women. I don't know why you say it wouldn't work. They're not used to it. If they're used to getting kicked in the nuts and then they encounter a woman who don't kick them in the nuts, I don't see why that wouldn't work. I think they would like to finally not be kicked in the nuts. So if you're saying feminine to some men doesn't work because some men, so I think you mean some men not used to good feminine women. Is she a troll? I don't think she a troll. I used to see her on the breakdown. She wasn't trolling. She was with the shits. They don't be trolling. Annette wasn't trolling on Friday. She believed what she said, and she mean what she say and say what she mean. Don't just call them trolls. Don't just call them trolls. Damn, it was another one that I saw. It was another one that I saw right by hers. What did it say? I didn't even like working in a warehouse, so yeah, they can have that. Yeah, there's some women who work in that warehouse and they like it, but some of them don't like it, but they do it because they got to do it. But they prefer not to do it. Don't even get me into that. Them wanting equality that suits them and feels good. We need more women in executive positions. We need full equality. We need to see equal representation of women in the coal mine. We need equal representation of women digging ditches. They don't say that ever. Robert J. in the building. Oh, I'm sorry. I almost said your whole full government. Wait a minute. Hold up. I do not call out people government name, your Cash App name. Now I can't say your Cash App name because I think that's your last name in your Cash App name. But I said your first and middle name. Did you know who you are at this point? Thank you for the $20 Cash App. I do appreciate that. And also, thank you. My man Judge Dre in the building with the $10 Cash App. Do appreciate him. Oh no. Okay, okay, there you go. Robert J. Carmichael. He already he doxed himself. Cool. Shout out to Robert J. Carmichael. Go on and dox yourself. Put that full government name up there. Right on. Shout out to you. Appreciate that $20 Cash App. Do appreciate it. Now, let me get to a few things. I do want to deal with. I do want to make sure I adequately deal with this tweet before I get into the Jason Whitlock thing. I do want to make sure I adequately deal with what was said in this tweet, where she stated, again, I'll read it again. Serious question: why does it seem like there are so many podcast / digital talk shows dedicated to belittling women, especially Black women? Maybe I'm unaware, but I don't see a lot of Black women using their platform in similar ways to gaslight and demean Black men. As I pointed out earlier, of course they exist. I pointed out that the whole, the big names in it, the Cynthia G, the Yanni, Red, Paris Milan, blah, 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 blah. It's a couple more. Shout out to Lil Big Nate when he be like, another scam, TKO. Tanya TKO. Lil Big Nate kill me with that one every time. But Tanya TKO. I don't listen to Chrissy, but I mean, yeah, they act like Oprah Winfrey didn't exist. I ain't even going there. I ain't even going all the way there. But either way, we get that the bigger names out there exist. We get the whole divestment movement. They call them Black men bullet bags. They talking about abort Black male babies. Everybody who I just mentioned, don't do that. I just want to be fair. Everybody who I mentioned, don't do that. The big name that did it, and then the flying monkeys followed, and so forth and so on. So there's that whole divestment movement where it's just it's absolutely horrible, absolutely horrible. We know who it is, we know what it is, we know what they about. Now, those channels, where she's saying that they don't exist, or I put out there that she know they exist. She just don't think it's demeaning, because a lot of the things that they have to say, she probably agrees with it. That's the reason she don't think that what they're saying is demeaning or problematic. But on the male end, let's look at this thing. Now, name those big names when it came to the women. Look at big names on the Black male side of it. It's big names growing like crazy, like Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews and Poor Man's Podcast. But compared to those other women that I named, MTR and Poor Man's Podcast, they walk on eggshells. Like they flat out walk on eggshells to not say nothing wrong. They don't say half the stuff that the women that I named say. And MTR still got canceled just from doing a collab with Kevin Samuels, who also, even though he goes hard on his show, but he is advocating for marriage and a lot of and men providing for women and a lot of stuff that women want. He just going hard on his show, but he still treads carefully. he's still treading carefully. I'm not trying to complete this. This ain't about Nicki Minaj and Kevin Samuels' impromptu interview that they did, but you know what I mean. I'm keeping it light on that, because I'm not trying to dig too deep into that. But you understand my point. He treads carefully. He treads very carefully with that huge platform. The only people that aren't treading carefully is, like the Fresh and Fit, who's constantly in and out of being canceled. I think their channel got hit for a week, where they couldn't post for a week, stuff like that. I mean, we already know it's almost like they. I don't even want to say it, because I'm not rooting for it to happen, because I want them to become as successful as they possibly can. But we get it. We get that they playing with the fire, and I respect them for it. I respect them for it, but they playing with that fire. The other person who plays with the fire is Tommy Sotomayor, who stayed canceled. The channel that he had popping, that he probably picked up like 15,000 subs on from when he was going on Fresh and Fit, that channel got knocked right when it got momentum. Not to mention all the other channels that he lost. The women over there on that end, they're not losing channels like that. They're not. I mentioned Cynthia G. She lost the channel because it was largely in part because she was going too ham. I think she may have been talking about the small hats. Shout out to Sub-Zero. I think he the one started that. I don't know who started calling them small hats, and she was calling calling people albinoid devils and all. She was saying all kind of stuff. She was saying all kind of ridiculous stuff. And the fact of the matter, and she lost the channel for doing that, and then she switched right over to bringing that same smoking heat for Black men, and then now she sitting on 100K going strong. But Tommy Sotomayor can't get a channel. Once his channel get over 30,000 subs, he's in danger. It's just no other way around it. He'll lose a channel, he'll grow another one to 30,000 subs. Once he get over that point, it seems as if his channel is in danger. So the men who are really controversial and stand in it, they always at the edge of being canceled. Some people would say that Kevin Samuels is controversial, but again, like I mentioned, he's controversial, but he's also on that delicate balance. He's riding a unicycle across a tightrope. Like he's on that delicate balance. But those who don't rock with that delicate balance, yeah, they're in danger of getting knocked down, where the women don't seem to be in that same type of danger. So it's not even the same with that, but men are growing and killing it, because I think it's largely in part because a lot of the men who's doing it, they're serving an underserved market. They're serving an underserved market, and they're making better content. And I think that has more to do with why it's growing like that. But in no way, shape, or form can Jemele Hill pretend like the equal opposite doesn't exist, because what the men on this side of things do, they're doing it because the equal opposite existed for years. So it's a clapback that we're looking at now. That's something that can't be denied. That's something that can't be denied. Larry Legend in the building. He says they report in flag channels. Men don't. That simple. Men typically don't do that. We typically honor free speech. When Reg the Bad Guy and some others tried to make a little petition to get Cynthia G taken off the air, it did not get a lot of support, because we around this part of the internet, we tend to believe in freedom of speech, even in the speech we don't like. So that trying to get somebody taken down, petitions, all of that, now that's I'm not with that. I'm not with that. Trying to go for another share screen real quick. Let's see. Where we at? Shout out to Jason Whitlock, because again, he's obviously not a part of the manosphere. He's, he was I almost want to call him a conservative pundit, but he was on ESPN, and he always merged his politics with sports and everything. I love that. I do love that. And he does great work. And it's no doubt that he as well as Nicki Minaj and Jemele Hill listen to this space, because they be saying on this platform that's not even in the algorithm, not even in the manosphere algorithm, he be saying some stuff that be coming he be saying some stuff that really truly reveals that he be listening. And so yeah, I'm about to roll some of this.
All right, welcome back. Time to bring in some Shamoke, the Shamoke Show, Shamika and me. And from what I've been told, this question is amazing, that I'm going to love it. I sold it as that. Shamika looks amazing as always.
First of all, it's coming out of Shamika's mouth. So how can it not be lovely?
So Shamika, what's popping? What's going on?
Yeah, I know them old niggas be simping. Not just playing. Nothing wrong with complimenting a lady. I'm just playing.
So for today's question, we have a young man who put out a video where there's a part of a video where he's just talking about, he heard this woman say she had her career, now she had her money, now all she needed was a man. And his reaction to that, which sparked a response, a tweet from Jemele Hill, who was upset, saying that
she called her Jemele Hill. All this time been calling her Jemele. It's Jemele. Okay, my bad.
Black men have all of these platforms to belittle Black women, but that's not the same the other way around. So I don't know if we're going to show the video. We can show that, and then I can ask Uncle Jimmy this fire question.
Literally, she says, I got a good job. I make very, very good money. And she says, the only thing I need now is a man. It's like, yo, like, it's like, who wants you? Who wants you? You're right. Like, once you have achieved these things, you have unfortunately disqualified yourself.
Ooh,
and
shit.
And what it is these, because and this is the thing. I'm not
Oh,
blaming
the
women.
women are gonna hate him for that shit.
No,
They are gonna hate him for that. I can't wait to put this shit.
If you watch the beginning of my video, I played that clip because that's what sparked the tweet from Jemele Hill, and I gave my response to what he said. I don't want to belabor the point, but I mean, if you catch it after it's uploaded or rewinded, you can more or less hear what. Well, I just try to very brief. I try to give a 20-second response to what he said right there. He's shorthanding arguments that were made by men who are better at making the points. It's not that a woman has disqualified herself if she becomes accomplished like that. It's just a brute fact of reality. People who tend to be hardcore go-getters, competitive people, they tend to be pushy and combative, and you know that type of personality type that we've seen Jordan Peterson and a lot of people talk about. That personality type normally comes on someone who's more masculine. If a woman operates like that, she is a more masculine woman. It normally comes with more attitude. It normally comes with more pushiness, more aggressiveness, and more likely for her to just be on some, you know, she don't need you type shit, you know. The less she's less likely to acquiesce, she's less likely to be cooperative, she's less like not 100% like not a 100% chance that you're going to do those things. She's just less likely. It normally comes with somebody who's not cooperative, somebody who's more combative and competitive. And a lot of men don't want a woman trying to be chest to chest with them all day arguing and shit. Like, so it normally, yeah. So that's the long-winded, more accurate way to say what he's saying, but it doesn't just disqualify her because she accomplished something. But anyway, so they played that clip and they about to say something about Jemele Hill's. Well, they had Jemele Hill's quote on the screen.
I'm not sure what your question is, but I'm not sure if I like to frame. Once she has all those things, no one wants you. That was a pretty interesting statement. But anyway, Shamika.
Uncle Jimmy, like, yep. That's an old man. He know how that go.
What's your question?
So my question to Uncle Jimmy is Jemele Hill right? Are Black men turning away from Black women or turning against Black women unfairly?
I would like to use this phrase. First of all, I'm a very big fan of Jemele Hill. I've referred to her as pretty brown eyes. I'm just gonna let that be known. But I would just like to say in this case,
hold your frame, Uncle Jimmy. Hold your frame. Goddamn, come on.
Look, I've heard about you. I heard there was somebody.
Well, I liked her back in the day. I liked her then.
Gotcha.
I don't know now.
Right.
But I'm just saying, let me just say, and I want to just clarify that. Let me just say that Jemele Hill is wrong as hell. You see what I did? Jemele Hill is wrong as hell.
Yeah.
You know, honestly. To sit up here and say that Black are Black men turning against Black women, hell no. Black women been turning their back on Black men for 50 years. And I know this for a fact because my mama left my daddy when I was 50, when I was 10. I'm about to turn 60, so that's about 50 years. You know, Black women been doing this forever of just going off, leaving me. And then now we have people that are bringing it to light. You got Kevin Samuels. You got Tommy Sotomayor. If I may just add another name, you got Jason Whitlock. I mean, because
you put me in the same category as Tommy Sotomayor and Kevin Samuels.
If I may, do you not set up here in serious business? Do you not preach that we need to step up and stand up against the matriarchy? We need to step up and start being men and stop this stupidness that we've been doing because women have been pushing us away. We need to take our place back.
That is accurate.
That's how I feel about it, right?
Moments like this is why I crystallized the point that this hating on Kevin Samuels, this hating on Tommy Sotomayor, this hating on yes, I'll even Angry Man. You know, he ain't blew up to their level yet. I think he'll get there. I do think he'll get there. People who are fighting for the cause of men Men need to stop hating on them. Even on this platform, which I don't know if to call it a mainstream platform, because it's not exactly that big yet. But Jason Whitlock is a mainstream figure. And on his platform, he's big upping Tommy Sotomayor and Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels, who came right out of our backyard. Kevin Samuels used to be a semi-regular on my show. That bigger Jason Whitlock, they just got big upped on Jason Whitlock's show, and then he's basically saying, you saying I'm on the level of those guys? And he's the mainstream one that's been on ESPN, who's been on CNN and Fox and all that stuff. Now his channel is still relatively small for how big and how famous his name is, but still, that's why. Look, I don't like to tell people to do on their channels, but that's why I do be, on my channel, I will call for a ceasefire, even though it's some stuff that's understandable. It's some stuff that's understandable. Don't get somebody copyright stuff. People channels getting taken down, the infighting. Listen, some of that stuff I understand. Some people got legitimate reason to be pissed. I'm not even. I'm not talking about that. But overall, we're seeing the reach. We're seeing the reach of the message. We're seeing where it's going. We're seeing it right before our eyes. We're seeing it right before our eyes. Shout out to the chat. We got 539 people in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the like button.
Right there. No, man.
Shamika, what's your take?
So I don't think that it's unfair, and I can't talk about Black women without bringing up feminism, which was led by what we would now call liberal white women. And like anything, I feel like Black women jumped on the bandwagon and just did it extra. Like we went hard on it. We went from saying we wanted to be treated like humans to then wanting to be treated like equal to then I am you, I'm better than you, I don't need you. And so I think what happened was, and why we're seeing a shift now, is because naturally men still want feminine women. So now that you have a group of women that want to wear the pants and be in charge, that hasn't changed.
Hold on, y'all cutting up in the chat while she cooking, and it look like y'all cutting up in the chat. KD said just block her, peace God. Who y'all trying to block? I don't got the YouTube up, so I can't see what's going on. But what's going on? I gotta come in there and break up a fight, because I don't like y'all blocking people. I don't like y'all blocking people. So I would rather you time somebody out into infinity and beyond. Send them to the corner with the dunce hat on and a timeout. They can come back and think. I mean, they can come back after they had some time to think and maybe act like they got some sense. But blocking people, I make the final call on that. And and I do block people now. Okay, give me a second. Shout out to E Capone in the building, says I got 5 on it, BR. Absolutely, man. Appreciate you. All right, I can't even find what was going on. All right. I'm gonna keep it rolling. All right. Paul Game said it's nothing. All right, cool. All right, we're gonna keep it rolling. All right. She was cooking. I interrupted. I didn't know if had to come in there and regulate some stuff in the chat. I couldn't see the chat. Now I got the chat up. Now I can see it.
And why we're seeing a shift now is because naturally men still want feminine women. So now that you have a group of women that want to wear the pants and be in charge, that hasn't changed, that men want women who are feminine. So you have to then turn away from whoever is not lining up with that. And see, Granddaddy didn't have to say all of these things because Grandmama knew her role. Grandmama didn't have a problem with having a meal and not sitting him in front of a hungry man plate. So now you have Black men speaking up and Black women are not used to the criticism or not used to hearing it. But it's not because Black men are just angry and turning away. It's because now they have to say, they have two choices: either say, throw the dirt over me, I'm already dead, or say, not on my watch. And I think you have a lot of Black men speaking up now and saying, not on my watch. I'm not getting ready to be your bitch, period.
Hey, she took some words out of my mouth on that one. She took some words out of my mouth on that. Shout out to Shamika. I don't even know her last name. Shout out to God damn it, I didn't. Well, shout out to Jason Whitlock. I don't forgot what's the old dude name? Uncle. Shit. Hold on. I'm tripping, y'all. Uncle Jimmy. Shout out to Uncle Jimmy, and shout out to Jason Whitlock. They definitely be holding it down over there. You know, they do other stuff. They dabble into a lot of stuff, but sometimes they do shows that look like this coming just straight right out of the sphere. And I love that. Leo Anthony in the building. He says, what's crazy is women know men suffer in silence with relationship, marriage, and dating, and yes, still go hard in the paint to make sure it stay that way, so they don't have to hear any criticism about Black women. Look, I always said, well, shout out to Brother Xavier, that a lot of times they want protection from criticism. They want protection from criticism. That's what a lot of them want. That's what a lot of the silencing campaigns are about. There's not that they're not dealing with whether or not a problem is being properly identified and properly analyzed. They're not debating whether or not it's accurate or inaccurate. I can deal with that one. If I'm saying something, you could challenge me, tell me whether I'm accurate. Tell me I'm accurate or inaccurate. But when you make an argument that essentially amounts to just shut up, then that tells me that I must be accurate, because you're not trying to refute my argument. You're just telling me not to make the argument. That's all you're doing at that point. But shout out to E. Capone, who came through and dropped a super chat on it. The link is in the chat. For people want to come up. We 1 hour into this thing, got 600 people in here. Make sure y'all hit the like button. This look like it's shaping up to be a good one. Shout out to Grown Man Business in the building. Yes, absolutely. Whitlock has been on Tommy Sotomayor's show. I enjoyed their conversation. Tommy kept trying to circle it back too much to Kevin Samuels, but other than that, it was a good conversation. But overall, no, they killed it. They killed it. Look, Tommy be killing it. With all the criticism everybody can pull out about him. Tommy Sotomayor be killing it. But Consular Murray in the building. Shout out to Consular Murray. I do appreciate you you coming on through. Let's roll a little bit more of this. The link is in the chat. I see somebody in the back. Let's see. What's going on? Real brief. I'm gonna roll some more of this tape, but real briefly, brother, what do you want to jump in on? You got something to say on this?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh yeah, no, good show, bro. Hey, good morning, happy Sunday.
Thank you.
I'm glad that this is I don't want to say mainstream, but I'm just glad that this is kind of, we're having more and more. I'm glad on the platform they showed a woman that's kind of advocating for men.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because it's so uncommon and rare, we definitely need to protect these women who are advocate of what's going on. And I think it's very hard to communicate with women as a whole, but maybe it'll come easier if other women are kind of saying, hey, y'all tripping, because again, this is unfortunately, we looking at on TV, the main stage. I mean, this is generational. You got an older gentleman, Uncle Jimmy, he just said he's 60. Whitlock is probably around my age, probably 40s, maybe early 50s.
Nah, yeah, I would definitely put Whitlock in the early 50s.
Yeah, so it's like you're looking at it right here. Like this ain't, and what he just said is 100% accurate. This is not nothing new, unfortunately. I just think right now, all this manosphere and women are upset about this stuff is a byproduct of, like what you stated earlier, what's been happening. You can't be, this is residuals of what happens with years and years of beating down on people. Now the clapback is coming. Now y'all standing around looking around like, what happened? Why is this happening? When y'all know kind of this has been the case, so it's going to continue to grow and it's going to continue as long as that there's pushback with them continuing to not do their natural being and existence, which you stated too. This is continue to happen and thrive and grow, and it's to a point now where black men are more open-minded now to there's other options out there. Now, me personally, I love black women. That's my first preference. But also, I love peace too, and I'm not a fool. So I go wherever the peace is at and wherever the love is at. Unfortunately, I would prefer it be my sister first. But if not, hey, I'm a free agent. I'm open for business. Whoever want to sign me, that's what team I'm going to.
Right on, right on. Good stuff, But thanks for coming up. I'm gonna roll some more of the I normally say not so beautiful bean footage, but there's some beautiful bean footage right here. I'm gonna roll some more of this, but thanks for coming on up. Derek Spinner. That's your name. I got your name right.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro, man.
Yep, no doubt.
All right, take care.
Yep. Ernest B in the building. He said, "Them waves, my nigga, them waves. You styling on them today. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, had to go on and cut my hair. Shout out to, I think I already acknowledged E. Capone. Didn't click on your super chat. Shout out to you. Appreciate the super chat, and shout out again to Counselor Murray. Appreciate everybody who supports the stream. Oh, and fair use. Even though I've used Jason Whitlock stuff before, I don't think he knocks stuff. But yeah, make sure go sub to Jason Whitlock. In all fairness, go sub over there. Fair use. But no, he ain't go knock it.
I'm going to, and both of y'all's answers were interesting and provocative and justifiable. But I want to maybe go a different level and say that I can't say whether I agree or disagree with Jemele. I unfairly, I can't say if it's fair or unfair, but what I can say is I think that Black men and women have been turning against each other for a long time.
Okay.
And I think it's captured in a little bit of Shamika's answer of we're outside our roles, both of us, because our roles are to be in obedience to God's will. And I would say both of us have walked away Black men have walked away from the church. The church is dominated by the Black church or whatever. I hate to even put that skin color on, but Black churches, predominantly Black churches, are run by women and they're very matriarchal. They may have a male minister installed, but the whole victimization and weakness and all that stuff is found in our church, and the church doesn't appeal to Black men.
Mm-hmm.
And
now Jason Whitlock. Now sometimes he used me because sometimes he lose me when he circles everything back to religion. But understand, it's his show. He's a religious man, so hey, I respect it. I do respect it. Sometimes he lose me with that. I do think church does have value and utility, and I think the Black church is a microcosm of really what goes on in the Black community to some degree. When I was there, just in an eye shot, just eyeballing it. When I was going to church regularly, this is back when I was married. Just scanning around the church, about 20% men, and majority of them are either they were in a couple categories. They were either married men in the church, or they were younger men, college age, or yeah, I know that there's a category of men in the church, I don't even gotta say it. I don't even gotta say it. So it was something going on. It's I can't explain what happened in the. I've had pastors on and they've talked about it, and they said a lot of it got to do with the simple fact that they switched up the message, they catered and they pandered to women, they pandered to shout out to Rod of God. Shout out to Rod. He will better explain this. He will better explain this than me, probably. But but y'all know, yeah, but y'all know what I'm talking about when I say that it was either married men in the church, it was either young, really young, college age, single men. Because you're coming out of high school and you're around college age, you still got a lot of influence of mama, so you still in the church. But really, grown men, they don't go to church unless they married or unless they choir directing, shaking the tambourine kind of suspectly. That's that's the only time they be in the church. That's the only time they be in the church. But A saying, can you find a husband in church? Yeah, I don't know. But one of the pastors I did have on my show, I'm delivered. But one of the pastors I had on my show, he said at one point he had 50% membership. He had 50% male membership. 50% male membership, but he said that didn't last for long because once women found out that he had 50% male membership, then all of a sudden they started women started flooding in. The floodgates opened, and then it dropped back down to 30-40% male membership because the women found out this church had 50% men who was straight and single. Yeah, they came up in there. They came up in there deep. So but overall no, it's a wrap. Overall, it's a wrap. He said, sounds like the manosphere. Women are flooding in, but I mean, yeah. No, I mean, it's a good point. It's that women will show up where the men are. Women will show up where the men are. That is true. That is true. But all right, I'm gonna roll a little more of this.
And so I'm not even making an excuse because
Uncle Jimmy and Shamika killed it. Jason Whitlock kind of slowing down the offense. I ain't gonna even front. Jason Whitlock normally bring it. He normally come with it, but he kind of slowing down the offense right now. Shamika and Uncle Jimmy had us in the shotgun with 5 wide receivers getting 10 to 15 yards per carry, and Jason Whitlock just subbed in Jerome Bettis and 3 tight ends. I mean, he didn't slow down the offense. But I mean, the general points that he's making is still fairly solid. But yeah, Jason Whitlock normally come with it, but he's overthinking on this one.
We've allowed that to happen as men, but when you walk away from God, there can only be chaos and disorder. And so I think both groups, the women have taken over control of the church, and they're steering the church away from the truth that's taught in the gospel, and they think none of those things apply to them. Hey, that's great that God said it, but I got a different way I want to operate. And so I think both sides are out of order. And then I'm going to just be transparent and a bit vulnerable here and just keep it real. When Black men, and I think what Jemele is saying is that Black men are exploring their options, that they have a lot more options than when grandmama and granddaddy was doing it. Because when grandmama and granddaddy was doing it, 98, 99% of Black people that were married, probably 99.5% of Black people were married to other Black people.
He's saying some good stuff right there, but I got to stop the show. He says, women flooding in because it's a female empowerment space. Cut the bullshit. Can you just please cut the bullshit? This is their space now. I'm like, come on, man. Y'all gotta, if you're gonna make a statement, make a statement that can be taken seriously. Women flooding in because it's a female empowerment space. But they're being empowered to submit to a man. Like that's What is the message for women here? Like, come on. Female empowerment. Like, yeah, get out of here. That's mostly what dudes at the end of the day, if the dudes who talk about women talked about women and it went to his logical conclusion, that's essentially what it would come to. The people who really talk about women and say a message that women can hear, the message ultimately is get on board with the best man that's willing to accept you, be happy that he's willing to accept you, and get on board with him and follow his lead, cooperate, and essentially submit to that man. If you want kids, pop out his babies and stay with them. That ain't female empowerment. That sounds like the type of life that women did feminism and ran away. That's the life that women ran away from in the second wave of feminism, and then the culture ultimately changed in a way that led to a space like this even existing. So to try to say that this is the female empowerment, like, no, that is a bullshit argument. But we got my main man, Rod of God podcast in the building.
Salute.
What's going on?
Good morning, man. Hey, man, you killing it, bro. I was listening from the clouds, full disclosure. You was preaching, bro. I was like, nah, man. No, for real,
I be trying.
Bro, you snapping this morning, bro. And I'm like, I ain't gonna join in, man, because it's like, bro, I don't want to be hogging up your channel. But when the church came up, it is Sunday.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you came up. I'm glad you came up because I've been out to church for a minute and I want to stop talking shit about it. I'd rather have somebody who's still in it to somebody who's still in it that keep it real.
Yeah, man.
Say what need to be said because I be getting out of pocket with the church, so I'm gonna start falling back on that. I'm gonna lean on you.
I don't know, man. You pretty respectful, man. You crack your jokes, get your jokes off, but it's respectful. But yeah, man. I think Jason Whitlock has a great point, man. This is what I've been talking about on my channel for a while, and it's an ugly truth, red pill. It's hard for a lot of black men in this space to swallow. The fact of the matter is the things that a lot of black men complain about, not just black men, but men in the worldwide manosphere, the behaviors in these women, like it's the Judeo-Christian faith and value system that established those things. So if you have left the church en masse, which is what black men did, starting with baby boomers and Generation X, these are the men, in terms of black men, these were the first men to say, he's a white Jesus, go and believe in Islam, which came 700 years later and still co-signs the Bible and Jesus, by the way. It's like black men started leaving this faith system. And what black men need to realize is leaving the Judeo-Christian faith system was the key to women being able to then act up. And then what are you going to say? What unifying belief system can you go back and rely on to say, like, you're out of pocket? If there is no Judeo-Christian God, how can you tell this modern woman that she's out of line?
Okay, let me back up some.
Okay.
You're saying that when men started leaving the church, that was the catalyst that gave the free pass for the women to just go do their own thing?
Yes, because if you're leaving the church, I'm not gonna lie. I believe women were showing their ass. I do believe that. But I believe that in terms of the chicken or the egg, I believe women show their ass first. Because that was what I witnessed in terms of women getting, my grandma, being like, no, F that, I will be alone. That's what my grandma did. And with 9 kids, she was like, I'll go at it alone. And she went and became a nurse and worked all day and all night. And now all the kids is, they came out the way they came out, so, which was not great. So I would say that women were bucking, but men, I think in that bucking, I don't know if the men looked at the church as at the gospel as it was failing them. Like, if men were like, yo, like, these women ain't really believing in it and, being submissive to me. Why should I be still believing in this religion? I don't know which came first, but if I had to guess, I would say the women show their ass, because that's just first pages of the Bible. That's what women do. Women are going to book. And God tells us that, off top. But I do think that men then abandoning the Judeo-Christian faith, that then opened up the floodgates. That then made it, they basically cut their own feet out from under them. And that, okay, now how can you then go back and start complaining about what these women are doing when you have left the faith that was the one thing that you could point to? Again, study peoples of all of history. The reason why every powerful group of people, not even powerful, every group of people has always had a unifying belief system, i.e. a religion, is because the people need to have something, some code that they can point back to and say, it's not just me saying you're out of line. It's not my opinion. Based on what we believe, you're out of line. And what people did was replace that with the law. Well, the law says you can, and then that women just ran all over you. They just stepping all over dudes because it's like, oh, well, the law was on my side now. And if you don't have a unifying ancient belief system that you could say, yo, this has always worked. How did our people get on and get along and still get on with life in spite of, the different dynamics that are going to come up in every relationship and every family? It's because at the end of the day, it's like, yo, but nah, man, we gotta look back to this code. And that is what we're going to then base ourselves in. He's preaching, bro. And a lot of men don't want to accept that. I came into this space, this stupid nigga up here talking about Jesus in the Bible. Y'all was, Christianity is the religion of slaves. It's bullshit. A black man helped Jesus Christ carry his cross.
Hold on. I think you just stumbled into something. I want to hear that debate on TPOT. Is Christianity the religion of slaves?
Oh, let's do it.
I don't know who wants to smoke with you, but I would love to hear that one. I know it's a lot. It's a lot of people in this space who would take you on with that one. I'm gonna get with brother Xavier, so him and SKC could start try to find you an opponent on that one. I definitely want to see that happen. If you had to say, and not that you're necessarily a historian on this, but around what time would you, what time period I should say, around what time period would you say that men started leaving the church en masse? Like,
I would say to be honest, what's so crazy, and it's not crazy if you're spiritual, if you believe in the Bible, is that we focus on the black, problems and the black flight from Christianity, but the same thing was happening worldwide. So it's not like it was just black men. White men did it too. And what I first learned about the time frame was from a white preacher, a white teacher. He wasn't a preacher, he was a teacher of the Bible, a white Bible scholar named Chuck Missler. But it was around Roe v. Wade. Like that's when it was around, what was that, 60 something? It was around then.
Okay.
It all coincided.
I'll Google to make sure, but I think you're about right. I think you're about right.
It all coincided, bro. It wasn't just black men. If I'm coming off as saying it was just black men who didn't know, it was Western men. I hold black men accountable because that is not what we come from. Like we are not, to be honest, like, not trying to be controversial, but white people have always been very fluid, like like if you trace back their ancestors, they were not Christians, so it's like, but with African American men, right now I'm talking about all black men over the whole globe, but with African American men, we're a new people, really, and we were based in that. I mean, we abandoned those ancient religions, and if you study them, you'll see for good reason they're hogwash. They're rubbish, worshiping snakes and shit like that. But, it's like when we abandoned that and we took up with the Judeo-Christian faith, that's what we based in. That's us. We come from that. And it's a hard truth that black men do in America, ADOS, FBA, whatever you want to call it, that they like to avoid. And you end up sounding like women in that. What do the feminists, I should say, what do the feminists say? They are the patriarchy, but yet you are the product of the patriarchy. The same thing can apply to black men. Complaining about the Bible, complaining about religion, trying to say Jesus is a white man. He was an Arab, he was an Israeli. He's not a white man. This is ridiculous. But, you're complaining about that, but then at the same time, you're saying, why these women ain't in check? like, why these women ain't acting right? It's like, well, bro, you can't have it both ways. You can't complain about the system that kept them in check and then also complain about the fact that they are not being kept in check anymore.
Right on. Hey, Clarence just said he need to hit Rod Cash App. I don't even know if you be dropping Cash App, but yeah, some people definitely feeling what you're saying. But if, he don't be dropping his Cash App like that. You actually said something. You ain't trying to take money because you be talking about the gospel on your channel, so you ain't trying to be
because then you gotta redistribute it.
Yeah. Got you. But no, you're actually adding a good layer to this thing, because we talk about a lot in this space, that moment in the late 60s, early 70s, with the Great Society Act, the second wave of feminism, the free love movement,
right,
and all of that whole era basically started the beginning. That was the early remnants, the early springboard of the change in the culture that ultimately led to, the culture changing to the point to where eventually a manosphere needed to exist. Shout out to ARC, because I just indirectly quoted the Beta Male Revolution, so I gotta give ARC a
salute to go
on that. Alan Roger Curry, check him out. The Beta Male Revolution book that's on that topic. But you adding a layer to it. That right when all of that was happening, it was also a mass exodus of men leaving the church.
Period. Yeah, worldwide.
If men would have, held firm right there, they would have been able to at least have the religious spiritual roots as the you're not gonna like how I word it, but the selling point or the bargaining tool.
Agreed.
That's saying that, hey, this is where we at. You want us, you got to come here to us. But a lot of men, when they left the church, and a lot of men embraced those movements because, hey, it was a lot of free pussy on the table.
Exactly. Let's just call it a spade.
Yeah. No, that's real talk. That's why I said it was like a pussy riot, and they became looters in the pussy riot, so to speak.
Bars.
That's still going on. A lot of dudes were straight looting out there. So yeah, I mean, those are all factors in the equation. It's just that years later, shout out to ARC in the building. Yeah, had to get ARC's proper shout out on that.
Yes, sir.
I just saw his comment. It's in there somewhere. There you go. Shout out to ARC. RM, you could drop the link to the Beta Male Revolution. But you added a layer to that I never really considered, and so that's interesting. Would coincide with everything that basically started a change in culture. The exodus from the church. I never warped that in there. So no, that's definitely a good added bonus. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna bring some other people into this real quick. You can stay right there, Rod, as soon as I figure out what the hell I'm doing. Let's see. We got Jermaine. Got hold on, let me make y'all names pop up so people can see who y'all are.
Top of the West Coast, King. How y'all living?
Oh, we doing good. We doing good. Your name. Let me see. Let me get your name on the screen. All right, Jermaine.
Jeremiah.
Oh, Jeremiah.
It's all good. Biblically talking, it's Jeremiah. You dig what I'm saying?
See, I couldn't see
my
that.
whole point on the situation is
Jeremiah. My bad. I see it. I'm calling you.
No, it's all Gucci. It's all Gucci. My whole point on the whole situation is a lot of it that we have to look at it from a historical context, right? Let's just really look at it. Throughout a historical timeline, where has the black man put down the black woman? In any historical timeline, all the way up until present day, it never happened, right? Look at it, right? Henry Louis Gates did a beautiful a documentary called The Black Church. I highly recommend y'all check it out. And it showed the context between the men in the church and the women in the church, and then they start getting women preachers and all this other stuff. So it's been cool as far as the church house, but it's the whole construct. You know what I'm saying? Huey P. Newton said that more people was because the Black Panthers were using cuss words and they was using violence and they was using stuff that wasn't socially cool. You dig? It wasn't good. So a lot of the people kind of bashing the Black Panthers were from the church. You dig what I'm saying? I mean, if I'm feeding a community, bro, I'm feeding the actual community from 7 to 9 o'clock in the morning, every morning, Monday through Friday. You got a problem with this? Because I'm not sending my people to church because we out here really fighting for revolution instead of, no disrespect, trying to pray our problems away. Come on, man, for real.
But
You know what
what did it read? What did it read? Where is the Black Panther movement right now? And that's the thing we don't respect. We don't respect, historicity. We don't respect ancient values. And it's like things are ancient for a reason because they were. And like if the Black Panthers had incorporated, again, it had incorporated some of that infrastructure, I think the Black Panthers would still be around. Because notice the ancient institutions in terms of Black America always are tied to some type of religious belief system. Nation of Islam.
Jeremiah, you want to respond to that one?
I got you, but okay. Well, let me follow you up with this one. All right. I had the wonderful honor and privilege of meeting Sister Angela Davis, right? And Sister Angela Davis had spoke something real. She said there were more women in the Black Panther Party than it was men across the country, period. Right? So with that being said,
that's okay. Let me
get on your Google machines, man.
No. That's something that has been dealt with.
Get on your Google machine.
I know. Let me explain it. There's a certain somebody who's tried to, shoot shots at Black men and try to say that as a negative, that it was more women in the Black Panthers than what it was men in the Black Panthers, like trying to say that women were leading the movement or whatever. But men were clearly leading that music and leading that movement and doing the dirty work, the heavy lifting, and all the everything that came with it. But hold on. It was wait a minute, stop it. Wait, brother.
I hate to cut you off, brother. I do not want to cut your wisdom. No. I really want to hear you.
All right. So what I'm saying is, it is true that I think 60% of it was women, but the women, what they were doing, they were basically like serving. They were doing basically the feminine work. They were serving at the shelters. They were, they were doing like daycare and they're basically like serving food and feeding people and doing daycare and babysitting kids and looking after old people. They basically doing the type of work that women do. So when they say that most of the Black Panthers were women, they say that and they try to flip it around like they were the ones on the front line. Like it was Black men. I'm not even saying it makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't, but they were saying that it was Black men. It was Black men out there taking the slings and the arrows and shootouts with the police, getting arrested, doing that hard work. They were serving the food. You talking about the Black Panthers feeding the community? Yeah, it was women volunteering to serve food. Yeah, so that's how the female numbers of the Black Panthers was up there. Go ahead.
Right. So with that being said, after they got dismantled, they said, okay, well, look at all this fucking power that these people are still doing because the women were carrying on the men's missions. Huey P. Newton's wife. I can't think of everybody offhand, but most of the women that were in the leadership roles, they were continuing on their men's mission, right? So then that's when Gloria Steinem and the CIA went in there directly and kind of dismantled everything. Because don't forget what J. Edgar Hoover said: there would never be a Black Messiah unless we create one, right? So
dang, looks like you kind of fading in. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, well, I guess I guess they tapping in. Shout out to the FBI agent that's listening.
They coming for you.
Shout out to the agency.
All right. I'm about to go ahead. Go ahead and wrap up your point. I do want to pass it to Obsidian. I'm having some technical issues because I got to find some AA batteries because the batteries in my mouse just went out, so I can't even click on the screen and shout out the other super chats that just came in. I can't do nothing right now until I get this to find some batteries in this joint. But go ahead and finish up your point, and I'm gonna pass it to Obsidian.
I just wanted to give a big salute to all the brothers online and all that. You dig what I'm saying? And I just try to, we just need to I don't know. I really can't. Don't know the full answer on what exactly what's missing. But if we look down a historical context, I believe that we can find context clues to where that we can go back to those ancient ways that made us better. And I yield my time.
All right, thank you. I do appreciate that. I'm gonna pass the mic to Obsidian. I'll still be able to hear y'all, but I do gotta step away for a second and try to find some batteries so I could man the controls a little better on the show, because I don't got my mouse just went dead. So but welcome to the show, Obsidian. You got the floor, you got the mic. Obsidian, okay, hold on. Obsidian going once. Mic check. I'm hearing feedback from him, but I'm not getting anything from Obsidian. So I'm having technical issues over here in the midst of a great show.
I'll run out of time while you grab batteries.
What you say?
I said I can kill time while you run.
Oh no, yeah. If you got something you wanted to say there, I might not need to grab batteries.
I really don't.
No. Go ahead. I mean, he said a lot. He said a lot, and he gave you a lot to work with there. So
okay.
Go ahead and speak on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was kind of, no disrespect to the brother. I don't know. It was a little disjointed. I would say that, because it sounded to me like the point I was making, I was agreeing with Jason Whitlock, and that, a lot of black men, it's not just black men, we're talking about black men and Western men, but specifically black men, we abandoned our spiritual posts by abandoning the Judeo-Christian faith of our ancestors in terms of African descendants of Africans. And it sounded like the brother was coming up to say, well, the Black Panther Party, tried to basically supplement that or replace that or deal with that void that was created when black men left the church. And the church disagreed with the Black Panther Party because they weren't pious, because they cursed, and maybe because they carried firearms or whatever. And I just
was that statement true? Was that I didn't know if that statement was true or not. I just he said it was interesting, but I didn't know if that was true. Now I did find a workaround because I'm on my I just pulled up on my laptop, and so I can shout out. Let's see if it's working. It's working. I still would rather have my mouse actually working, but let's see. We'll work around. We'll try to deal with this workaround. But Black Guru Strikes in the building. He says when women were liberated and got primary legal control of family, children, and money, how were the men going to keep them in biblical order? That's a solid question. That's a
great
solid
question. Great question. And the answer, my bad. You still reading?
Well, go ahead. If you got a quick answer, go ahead and give a quick answer to that.
I don't know if it's going to be quick. I can try to write it down and come back to it.
Yeah. I got it saved. I think I saved that one. So we'll come back to it. Nad's Life in the building says, I love my brothers. She says, I love my brothers, and I hope my brothers love me back. Life is too short and this world is ugly. Happy Sunday to all. And I come in peace, host. Absolutely.
Shout out to you.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate the super chat. Also, Ash L in the building says BW behavior has everything to do with culture. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. He says black men would go to church if you had childless. Oh, yeah, I see where you're going with that. If you had childless under 30 women ready for marriage instead of baby mama feminists over 35.
Bars.
I did. When I had pastors on, I made that case that basically while they're in there in that church and they got the power and influence, they need to be indoctrinating. I even use that word, indoctrinate, indoctrinating those young girls and grooming them to get married to church-going, vetted, qualified men. And basically, and the controversial part of it, because I was like, just ship them off at 18 to, and this again, it's hard to do that with these laws because then the guys, but to older men, let's just say, men who are accomplished, they're getting into their 30s or early 30s, yeah, age gap dating, age gap marrying, yep, marry them off young, to men who are doing well in their career. That man is in a position of power and influence and got money and could provide everything that they say a man is supposed to provide, but the church should be indoctrinating her to be the wife that she need to be to this man who could traditionally do what men are supposed to do. If the church was really about that life and about families, they would be trying to build some type of structure from within, sort of like what it was in like the 50s when it was de facto arranged marriages. They'll be trying to do something like that within the. I'm hearing feedback from somebody. They'll be trying to do something like that within the walls of the church. Sort of like how in Utah, don't get me started on how they got a whole systematic thing where they basically, marrying girls off like that. At least they got intact families. But it's like, what cost do you want to pay for intact families? They would rather pander and cater to, like you said, the baby mamaism and create more of that and just have a church just full of women with no men in it. But if they were serious about bringing men back to the church, yeah, men would show up if it was some some younger childless well-groomed women to get married to, that men will show up. that's just a flat out truth. But all right. But good points, y'all, on that on everything that y'all was saying there with the Black Panthers, the Black Church, the whole works. And I like how Rod of God will connect elements of the Black Church to the Black manosphere, elements of the red pill, and connect it to the Bible. I do like when you do that. Very, very interesting stuff. I do enjoy it. But I'm gonna pass it to Obsidian. Obsidian, you can go ahead. One mic check. Obsidian, are you there? Because I was going to pass it to you.
Yeah. I just got back from. I had to run downstairs and grab some brunch. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. You can go ahead and pick it up from whatever part of the conversation that you found interesting. You can go ahead and pick it up from there. You got the floor. You got the mic. Thank you to everybody who's supporting the stream. I'm going to try to make sure I didn't miss any super chats, but I'm all discombobulated because I'm not even going to explain to y'all how I'm winging this thing because my batteries ran out of my mouse, so I'm winging it. But all right, go ahead, y'all.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to make sure I understand what's going on here. I know who Jemele is, Miss Jemele Hill. I'm familiar with her work. So the question is, she is wondering and possibly upset about this explosion of podcasts and other social multimedia made by Black men that hold and express critical views of Black women. Do I understand that right?
Yes.
Okay. And she is wondering where this came from?
Well, she specifically said, and I can't pull it up because I'm trying to go to her Twitter real quick to find it, but it was something along the lines of, she wasn't exactly wondering where it came from. She just acknowledged that she sees so much of it, and then she tried to say that that she don't see Black women using their platforms to gaslight, belittle, or demean Black men. But she's saying, why is there so much digital media podcasts or digital shows or whatever where Black men are essentially belittling, demeaning, or gaslighting Black women? And she argued that Black women are not doing the same.
All right, gotcha. All right. Well, my first question, and it's a rhetorical one with regard to Ms. Hill, would be this. Why don't she reach out to some of the bigger names in the Black manosphere and have a sit-down conversation and talk about it? Since she clearly is curious, she clearly, has questions, she can have the questions answered. There are people in the Black manosphere that she can have a sit down conversation with, and they will be more than more than happy to answer their questions. I was just looking at, want to give a shout out to Edward Anderson. I was on the air yesterday for almost 8 hours straight. I didn't plan that. Wound up doing a de facto marathon, and I was wiped out after that. But when I woke up earlier this morning, and I checked my feed, Edward Anderson had did a kind of post game analysis of mediocre tutorials and reviews. He did a kind of smoke show of his own. I did a smoke show, and so did he, taking calls from those who disagree. And mediocre tutorials' manner, his microphone manner, if you will, very, very pleasant, very conciliatory. He strikes the perfect tone. He would be perfect for Jemele Hill to have a sit down conversation. He can answer her questions. Now, I mentioned him in particular, as you know, Bernard. There are numerous brothers in the Black manosphere who are similar to mediocre tutorials. Yourself, for example, there are numerous Black men in the Black manosphere. For that matter, Jason Whitlock himself. I mean, they both are in the sports world. If she really wants to know and she really wants to understand, there are numerous brothers now that she can have a sit down public conversation with and have her questions answered. That doesn't mean that they have to agree on everything, but it does mean that she can have her questions answered. My point is this: Black women are going to have to accept something here. They're going to have to accept something. Now, this is happening within the larger backdrop of the Nicki Minaj situation. Okay. Black women for whom it applies are going to have to accept something. The Black manosphere is here to stay. They're going to have to accept that. And we're going to have a real conversation whether they want to or not. Now, the question becomes, how does that conversation happen? See, the question isn't whether the Black manosphere is mainstream or whether or not we're going to have a real conversation. Those questions have been answered. The question now is, how is this real conversation going to happen? Is it going to happen with people, both sides, Black men, Black women, sitting down in good faith and trying to understand each other? We don't have to agree, but just understand in good faith. Or are we going to allow the extremists on both sides to duke this out? That's the question now. This is where we are. So what I would say to Miss Jemele Hill and any Black woman of like mind, what I would say to them is, you have questions, we have answers. Let's talk.
But don't we understand each other already? Do you think we understand each other or no?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
All right. I mean, no, that's I generally hear what you're saying, and if Jemele Hill, if she was operating in good faith, then there are people that she could reach out to. I mean, I'm sure it goes without saying, even if we could say, okay, she don't know nothing about mediocre tutorials and reviews. One thing that we do know for sure, she do know who the hell Jason Whitlock is.
I agree with you, but I would caution you, Bernard. This is something I've learned.
Well, let me just make the general point. Hold on, let me make my point. We know she know who the hell Jason Whitlock is. So, and Jason Whitlock, even though he's obviously, he's not exactly, one of us, not exactly in camp over here, but I just showed quite clearly a lot of the talking points, views, and sentiments of this space. He's willing to put them out on his platform. She made a statement where she, in many ways, was coming at this space, and he thought he took it to be he saw it as important enough to put it on his show, where they offered a rebuttal that would be a rebuttal very similar to a rebuttal that would be made in this space. So if she really truly wants the conversation, she knows it for a fact. She knows for a fact that there's one place where she can go and have the conversation. That's all the general point that I was making.
Right. Now, to your point about her maybe not being aware of mediocre tutorials and reviews, I hear what you're saying because I used to feel the same way.
Wait, hold on. I wasn't talking about how I feel about whether or not she's aware. I think it's very likely, as big as his channel is, and she's on social media, it's very likely she's at least seen one of his videos. But at the same time, you don't know for sure. Okay. But with Jason Whitlock, I mean, they've been damn near colleagues before. That's what I'm saying there.
Okay.
They probably worked at ESPN at the same time. They know who each other is. That's all I was saying.
Okay. So it was brought to my attention recently that Nicki Minaj knows who I am. And I didn't believe it because I'm a small guy. I got a small time channel, right? Less than 20,000 subs, right? But then I thought about something. Back in January, I was featured in Elle magazine. And Nicki Minaj has made the cover of Elle magazine at least a half a dozen times. My point is this. I don't think it's wise for us to assume. I'm not saying you're saying this, Bernard. I'm just putting this out as a general proposition. I don't think it's wise to assume that people don't know who we are. I think we need to assume it the other way around. I think we need to assume that all these people know who we are.
I agree.
And that took me some doing to get my head to wrap my head around that. But the power of social media is a real thing. I'm still learning it myself. And I think that because things move so rapidly with social media, it is almost kind of like, at least it is for me personally, it's kind of like a whiplash effect. Things move so quickly. They all know who we are. They know who you are. They know who I am. They know who Edward Anderson is. The thing about the Elle magazine article, notice how they mentioned Dr. Thunder, Mr. Palmer. Yeah. They know who we are. So the question now becomes this. Are we going to sit down and talk about this or not? There are black women who don't want black men to have a voice. That's a real thing. I've documented it. So the question becomes.
Yeah, Nicki Minaj being one of them.
The question becomes.
Exactly.
How do we deal with that? What is our response as the black men, the black manosphere? I keep saying to brothers all the time, but saying this for years. The question isn't whether you win or not. The question is what happens after you win. We are now in the driver's seat. We are no longer Mujahideen in the mountains somewhere. We're no longer the Viet Cong fighting a guerrilla war in the jungle. We won. So now what? How do we set the table moving forward? My position is I want to weed out the black women who don't want to talk.
Why do you say we won?
Because they're talking about us. We're not talking about them. They're talking about us. This conversation today is about Jemele Hill talking about us. Nicki Minaj is talking about us. Not the other way around.
Yeah, but that sounds like one victory in a battle. That don't sound like a war that's won.
What do you consider the war being won?
I don't want to get long-winded on that. I did a stream a while back called "How Do You Define Victory in a Gender War?" And one of the things that I highlighted, I did say that there's two aspects of it. There is a talking points battle where people are debating ideas and talking about ideas and bringing facts, stats, and data. And sometimes it's theatrical, it's entertainment. But at the end of the day, the best ideas win. The best arguments do win. Sometimes they don't, because sometimes somebody could just be good at spreading their bullshit. But at the end of the day, there is a online talking points war. Like, for example, Kevin Samuels blowing up and becoming that big and going mainstream like that, and taking a lot of the thoughts, views, ideas, and perspectives of men in this space out, and reaching it far out that wide to where people who before him never even heard of this space are emulating and echoing the talking points and doing their research and building channels and growing and sprouting all over the place. That's an example of, of gaining ground in just the online rhetorical media aspect of the battle of the sexes or whatever. That's a that in that real way, that's how winning that war. For example, they were winning the war before it was black male media joining the conversation, and whatever they thought, that's what was out there. That was them just winning the war in a landslide victory. Now it's it's more like that, or maybe the male side probably is winning the conversation right now. But then there's the other aspect of a gender war and how you define victory in that. And I always refer back to these numbers like that when you look at let me try to get that super chat off of the screen real quick. Shout out to everybody super chat, and I will highlight it. I do got a system here, even though my batteries went out. In real life, if you can see that on the screen, you can see the blue part, and it's talking about children's living arrangements differ by race and gender. Black people are the second column. You see that blue part that represents 36%. That's the percentage of black children that live with two married parents. That yellow portion, for though I know you know these stats, I'm just communicating it to the audience. It's that yellow portion is the black children that live with cohabitating parents. Right. Then that large pink portion is the ones that live with the mom only. There's a small sliver with the orange portion where it's just live with the dad only. And then it's the black people that we got the largest green portion that says they don't live with either parent. So until that blue and that yellow, it gets comfortably, I would say comfortably over 50%. At least we're Hispanic. At least where the Hispanic, Hispanic or Latino people are. Until it gets there, then there's clearly a separation in the sexes between with black men and black women, to where even though the talking points battle ground could be won there, yes, but at the end of the day, if black community look like black men on one side, women on the other side, they meet in the middle and fuck, and then the women go off to their own respective corner. I'm quoting you, they go off to their respective corner with the kids, and the black men go to their corner, they meet up again and fuck, and then go back to their corners. If it's looking like that, in my eyes, there's always a gender war of some sort, or some sort of disconnect between black men and black women. So that battle, getting those numbers to change, that's a long generational fight that may not ever, who knows if that will ever change. So those are the two aspects of the gender war as I define it: the talking points, the ideas, the thoughts, views, perspective, getting out there on media platforms. Then there's the reality on the ground through those numbers. Those are the aspects of the gender war. So winning the gender war in reality, like I said, that blue and that yellow would need to be up higher, and winning it in terms of the online media battle, or dare I say propaganda battle, is essentially winning the just winning and owning the conversation, to where our voices are the biggest, loudest, most prominent voices in the mainstream media and dialogue.
I think okay, how about this? On that latter point you just made, if we haven't won, it's clear the handwriting on the wall. Would you agree with that? It's definitely trending in our direction. Would you agree with that?
Yes, but I think we had this conversation before, and I used the analogy. I said in A New Hope, when they blew up the Death Star, the next episode was The Empire Strikes Back, where the rebels they took a major L, so that's why I just gaining ground and getting the victory, or getting, I don't look at that as we've won. Now what? I don't look at it as that. That's letting the guard down.
That brings me to the next question. So you laid out the numbers. We're not going to debate that. There's nothing to debate there. You laid out what the goal is. So the question becomes, how do we get there? How do we get there, Bernard?
That rhetorical?
No, it's a very real question. How do we get there? See, I think I have an answer for that, but I'd like to hear yours. And for that matter, the rest of the panels.
Yeah, I kind of would like to hear yours. I mean, how do we get there? That's too broad, because I think getting there. Okay, which one of them are you talking about? Those numbers, or are you talking about just the media game?
Yes, those numbers. You showed the
Oh,
numbers.
those
I agree with
those
you on the numbers.
numbers.
I
That
agree.
that's a whole. Somebody can write 10 books on that and still not have the exact right answer. So that's so much to unpack. But if you already got that, if you already got an answer brewing on that one, I'd love to hear what you got to say on that one.
Well, I'll riff on your example of the Star Wars analogy.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, the entire campaign of the Rebel Alliance against the Empire hinged on one man, Luke Skywalker, and
Okay.
his relationship with his father, Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. It was that relationship that turned the tide. If we're going to turn the tide on these numbers, it's going to require relationships, and there is no relationship without conversation. We got to have a way to have conversations. And part of that way to find a way to have conversations for us in the Black manosphere, we have to focus on the Black women who want it. That's going to be difficult. That's going to be hard. And not for the reasons that we might think. But that's where it starts. Having conversations with Black women who want the same thing.
I'm trying not. I'm not gonna go all the way there. I have a thought on that. I have a thought on that, but I'm gonna hold it for a while. We're gonna go to truth to life. I'm gonna go to truth to life. You've been waiting for a while. I muted you up because you got some background noise. So after you say whatever you got to say, go ahead and mute yourself back up. What? Okay, he's going to take care of his background noise now, apparently. So
I know it was that loud, bro. My bad.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You got the floor, you got the mic.
Okay. I was actually going to say the same thing. It's a simple answer, and the answer is relationships. When we which is let me back it up to the original question, and the question was why there's so many podcasts dedicated to belittling Black women. Well, it's funny that her interpretation is that we are belittling. When you clarified, when you posted your interpretation, well, I'm sorry, when Obsidian clarified, when he reposted the question as why are there so many platforms that are dedicated to addressing this particular issue? Well, those are two totally different things. So one issue, which is what I'm a part of on my channel as well, I just got in it. I'm the little guy, man. I'm brand new to the scene, and I didn't know that there were so many other brothers and sisters that were really out there, like strong proponents for Black families. I come from a broken Black family, and I'm an ex-playboy, and the whole 9 yards. But as a result of me being a part of the problem for so many years, I had to decide at some point, bro, you got to grow up. So it's time to be part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. And what I'm doing myself, I'm working on 2 years with no sex, for one. 2, I just got out the penitentiary. So I'm really just, getting myself back on point. And it allowed me a time and space to really work on myself with Jesus Christ. It's a lot of fakers and shakers out there.
Wait, I'm sorry, I gotta do some math. Wait, how long have you been out?
I've been out for about a little over 2 years. Well, no, exactly 2 years.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying you just got out, and the 2 years without the sex was including years in prison. So I was just like, okay, yeah. I'm
like, that didn't count, bro.
Okay, that ain't nothing to say. That ain't nothing to brag on. I went 2 years without sex, but I've been in prison for the last 2 years. Like, yeah, I would hope. All right.
One, I'm not bragging. It's not cool to go to the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? For one, that was stupidity and ignorance on my behalf. However, I will say this. Although nobody forced me to sell drugs or do none of the stuff that I did, the absence of a father and a mother in my life, you know what I'm saying, were definitely conducive to facilitate the mindset that I had in my childhood growing up. So going back to Obsidian's point and going back to the original question about new channels or so many channels speaking in a derogatory or condescending way about Black women, well, they filter everything through their emotions. And one thing that I've learned, I got to say this about Kevin Samuels. Look, bro, I've been in actual conversations with countless Black women that are triggered by the truth. It is almost impossible to tell a Black woman the truth and have her actually be receptive of the facts. It just triggers them, and they don't know how to. Many of them, I'm not going to say all of them because I love my sisters. Hey man, I'm soul brother number one, and for me personally, it's sisters only. But my point being this: the way that we solve the problem is by focusing on our interpersonal relationship skills, emotional control, anger control, problem solving skills, etc. We as Black men have stepped our game up throughout the years because this just is just a natural part of evolution for men to improve the quality and value of who they are as men. However, the women are stuck in this pretty privileged mindset where I am the table and all I got to do is come to the table and that's it. But you have no problem solving skills. You don't have any emotional control. You use the PMS as an excuse to have a reckless mouth. But if a man responds in kind by having reckless hands, then that's a problem. So it's a dichotomy that's going on here that a lot of women don't properly understand. And by having the conversations, back to what Obsidian was talking about, we bring the awareness, we shine a spotlight on what's going on, and those women, those particular women who are interested in making the changes within themselves, because all relationships are hard and all relationships take work, whether it's relationship with siblings, parents and children, or spouses. It doesn't matter. Relationships take work. And what I've come to find by way of empirical evidence and as well as what a lot of the Black manosphere talks about is the same thing. It comes down to the same thing. The Black women, modern, not all Black, not all my sisters, but modern Black women are lazy. They do not want to do the introspect, the work on themselves, the self-improvement that it takes in order to properly, effectively, and productively navigate through relationships that will give them the result that they want.
All right, good stuff. Thank you for your commentary. Dead Set Anime in the building. He says, all of this is meaningless unless you destroy the underlying support that Black men have, and that support is, I think, Black women have, and that support is the U.S. government and corporate interest lobbying to erode that special interest is paramount. That is definitely, I would say that's definitely a factor in the equation. But like I said, things can get fought on many different levels, but that is an important level that does need to that does need some attention. Probably more from this space, but a lot of us came to it with just men just speaking our mind, giving our ideas, thoughts, views, perspective. It's growing to the point to where that's an area where we do got to take this thing. And there's been some early talks of doing that, and we gotta get the ball rolling on that. So yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a factor in the equation. But good stuff. Thank you for that super chat. Thank you everybody who's been supporting the stream. We got I just dropped below. We're teetering back and forth between 600 people in here, so close to 600 people in here. Make sure y'all hit the like button.
I got an answer for it.
You got an answer for it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You got it.
The answer is it's not in red pill. There's no fixing it. There's no fixing in terms of your chart. I mean, there's no fixing this, and that's why I love the Bible, man. The Bible gives you the truth. In Isaiah 4:1, the Bible talks about a day coming where 7 women will take hold of one man, saying, "We will eat our own bread. We will wear our own clothes. Only let us be called by thy name." Basically, only marry us and take away our reproach. And it's an apocalyptic prophecy. The Lord says very clearly, and if you read the scriptures right before that in Isaiah 3, he's talking about modern women. He's talking about these women who, you know, they boss bitches. And he said the judgment that he's going to mete out is what's happening right now, which is your men won't marry you. Read Isaiah 4:1. I'm not making this up. And that's what we're just living through. And that's another reason why we benefit so much from, you know, looking at the word of God. I know it's one religion of many, but, you know, it's the only one that is, you know, that modern society has to contend with, because it describes modern society explicitly. And that's what's happening. That's what's going to happen. At the end of the day, it's going to work itself out. There is no going back. There is no turning back the hands of time. I disagree in terms of, you know, we don't understand each other. We do. We understand each other. We all grew up in the same houses, in the same communities. You know, we're a people. We understand each other. If we don't understand anything else, we understand each other. You know, there are ugly truths there that maybe we don't want to acknowledge. There's ugly realities there that maybe we wish we could take the blue pill and reset it back to, you know, the kind of picturesque fantasy of it. But there is no change in this. This is happening exactly as it naturally would progress, in my opinion.
All right. Son is Hot Ron the building said, "This is madness. No other group of men have to damn near do quantum physics and search deep within the ocean and the universe to find the answers on how to deal with their women." Shaking my head. You're right, but you're wrong. It's not exactly that, you know, quantum physics has to be done so men can figure out how to deal with their women. I have no problem dealing with my woman, you know, but there is a problem on the macro scale. There's a problem on the macro scale. So me dealing with my woman, that's not quantum physics, but solving that problem that I illustrated through the data, yeah, that's a major problem. And plenty of people, whether it's sociologists, economists, psychologists, or whatever kind of ologists you can come up with, have weighed in on those type of problems that happens in the West. That's happening. Like, a lot of people have weighed, a lot of really smart people have weighed in on that. So it is an issue when you're talking about it from a large scale societal purpose. But just talking about an individual man dealing with his individual woman, then no, he shouldn't be physics or brain surgery. No, so but thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate that. My eyes are all over the place because my screen is froze and I'm controlling my main monitor from a laptop, and it's just weird. So y'all gotta forgive me if y'all see me all over the place, because I'm winging this thing, building it while I'm flying it, because technology failed and I fixed it on the fly right during the show. So all right, I'll circle back to something that Obsidian was talking about, and I kind of didn't want to go down this route because you're saying from the media angle, not talking about necessarily this data that I pointed out as a problem, but just talking about it from the media end. You're essentially saying pay attention to and focus on, or talk about, or talk with those women who want to have the productive conversation in good faith. Now, part of the problem with that, and this is why this is why I kind of punted, but I'll circle back. I just want to see what other people thought before I circle back to this. Part of the problem with that is Kevin Samuels made the biggest dent in this whole type of conversation by talking to women who were in bad faith and refuting and defeating and debunking their talking points, views, ideas, and perspectives in real time before the world, with millions of people seeing it. To go back to the Star Wars reference, that was Luke Skywalker destroying the Death Star. All right, that's what that was. Now, so to say that, okay, now we don't do that no more. Let's stop. Let's not do that, and just focus on the women that that are agreeable. And again, in your real life, in my real life, that's for damn sure the strategy. But with this online media thing and talking, you know, this whole battle of the sexes, gender war, debating the ideas, thoughts, perspectives, and all the varying social dynamics between men and women online, and that, I don't think ignoring the other side and not countering and refuting their arguments, and basically to some degree is yielding the dais to them to do what they've always been doing without pushback,
I'm sorry, Bernard. Pardon my interjection.
Go ahead.
Are you responding to me?
Yes.
Okay. Where did I suggest that we just focus on the women that we can work with and ignore the larger conversation going on in social media, etc.? I'm sorry. I missed that part.
Yeah, when you said that, you said, I know this is going to be hard, but we need to focus on the women who want to have the conversation.
With regard
have.
to your second objective, so we talked about wars have not to sound like I'm trying to pull rank here, but one of my favorite pastimes for many years has been studying military history, warfare, the history of warfare, taking it all the way back to the ancient Greeks. We know that wars can be fought on multiple fronts. You mentioned the Star Wars film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They were based on World War II.
Mm-hmm.
World War II was the first truly global war that was fought on multiple fronts in various locations across the planet.
Okay.
We talked about the first front in the war, which was the social media war.
Mm-hmm.
Then we talked about the second front of the war, which was, as you put it, with regard in real time with these numbers regarding family formation and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My question to you was, how do we get there? I suggested we get there by focusing on the people who want what we want. But that's on that particular front. I'm not saying
you're talking about in real life. Real life. Yeah, that's the easy.
On that particular front, yeah, we focus on that. I said it would be difficult for many black men, and I'm going to lay out why. I talked about it in yesterday's show. I've written about it in the first book of Obsidian. I see I need to discuss it some more because repetition is the mother of skill. Many black men don't want to admit that they're attempting to make the hoes into housewives.
Strongly disagree.
Triad women.
Strongly disagree.
They're attempting to try to make the disagreeable women agreeable.
Strongly disagree.
Okay. But I have evidence in favor of my argument.
All right, I'm listening. I'm all ears.
Well, I mean, it would be going up in a few hours. I talked about it yesterday. The video came down because I admittedly played a slew of copyrighted music. Not a problem. I backed it up to my Dropbox. People will be able to get the link and get the entire damn near 8-hour show once it goes up. But I also clipped it and made the argument. One thing that really jumped out at me with this whole Nicki Minaj discussion is the sheer amount of attention she's getting from black men. Many black men, with regard to the black manosphere, who purport to have an issue with her. See, this is the way social media works. Like I said, I've been quietly studying social media now for about a year. I mean, really studying it. I make a confession here. I never really understood social media until last year. I really never understood it. But now I'm starting to understand it. See, any type of mentions, any type of engagement, any form of interaction with it, with a particular individual, means that you're giving them a vote. So all the chatter with regard to Nicki Minaj, it translates to mentions. It goes into the algorithm, not just YouTube, but Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of the Twitter, all of these social media platforms have their own algorithms. And part of the way that it operates is the amount of engagement a particular individual gets.
Mm-hmm.
So if we keep giving her all of this engagement, what we're doing is giving her a vote, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not.
Okay, so going back to my original point, you are saying ignore the other side that are saying things counter
to some extent. To some extent, it has to be sophisticated. To some extent, yes. We have to be very strategic about it. We have to be very strategic. Instead of applying a blunt instrument like a hammer, we have to be more like a scalpel or a rapier. If you notice about Kevin, what's interesting about him?
Well, let me back up. I want to back up and ask you this, because you said something about giving all this attention to Nicki Minaj, and you preface that with saying that men want to turn hoes into housewives.
Yes.
And then you highlighted the amount of attention that was given to Nicki Minaj.
Yes.
I don't know if that plane actually lands. And the reason I say that is because the manosphere wasn't talking about Nicki Minaj until she came into our backyard.
Correct.
When she started talking, when she did an interview with Kevin Samuels, that's in our backyard.
Correct.
We did, from an algorithmic standpoint, it makes sense for us to do reaction videos to that.
Right.
And then we did it, and then that was done. It was set aside, and she did all kind of stuff since then. We weren't talking about it. She wasn't on our radar until she came back into our backyard and threw a rock through the window.
Why did she come back into our backyard and throw a rock through the window? Why did she do that?
Because we're being effective.
No.
And she's hearing it and she's getting pissed.
No.
Okay, go.
She's doing it because she knows you react to it. She knows you respond.
Okay.
So,
but hold on. But see, that's the thing. If she's one of the most famous people on earth, and she algorithmically came into the backyard of the Black Manosphere and threw a rock through the window, the Black Manosphere, from an algorithmic standpoint, should respond. I mean, we do got platforms that we want to grow here. So yeah, so it's not just that she did it because she knew we would respond, like she's just like got us on a puppet string or whatever. Like, no, we apparently, I think what it is, we've said things that have triggered her, that have made it all the way to her, and she's getting mad about the change in the narrative. And I have men have platforms and they're saying all these things. Somebody, I think DJ Academics just played a video on how she was on stage saying something like, you know, you don't need these niggas for nothing, well, other than to buy you something and everything. Run these niggas' pockets, blah blah. She's just saying all kind of, you know, crazy stuff, you know. And there's a and again, that's some ratchet shit that don't matter. Like stuff like that we wasn't responding to.
Actually, it does matter. Actually, it does matter.
Well, okay. Well,
I can
okay.
explain how and why it matters.
It matters in a context, but overall,
but no, it does matter.
Okay, that's good. That's fine. That's fine.
To the argument here.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's not a trivial point.
Okay, go ahead.
See, and I talked about this in the book of Obsidian. I gave more than 5 citations dealing with the dark triad of psychological traits: psychopathy, narcissism, Machiavellianism. In my most recent conversation with Miss Brown Sugar, we talked about it from a psychological standpoint, why so many brothers are so triggered by Nicki Minaj. The reason is because she, my opinion, my layman's psychological opinion. I am not a clinician. I am not a psychologist. Just from a layman's standpoint of having studied a lot of it, I would wager that she scores very high on the dark triad of psychological traits. She has admitted that she has had her body surgically altered. It's no longer a matter of debate, of speculation. It's a fact. In her actual formal sit-down interview with Joe Budden, she has disclosed that she's done this. The video that you referenced with regard to Ty City Logic Sphere.
I didn't reference the video with Ty City.
I'm sorry, I misheard you.
DJ Academics played the video I was referring to.
That's what I'm referring to.
Okay.
Ty City used footage from DJ Academics, who in turn used footage from concert footage of Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
I
didn't know the backstory. I just saw DJ Academics made a 30-minute video where he was breaking down Nicki Minaj taking shots at Fresh
and
and
I
Fit,
don't,
and by
and I
extension,
don't disagree with DJ Academics. I don't disagree. What I am saying is that the actions and words of Nicki Minaj are indicative of a dark triad personality.
Okay.
I talked about that. I talked about that with regard to the dinner whore issue. Men are being triggered because psychologically, we have to remember this is about subconscious mind.
Why do you think men are being triggered? Why do you think men are being triggered?
I'm trying to explain it to you. A lot of black men are having a very negative reaction to Nicki Minaj because psychologically they know that they're being manipulated. She's
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
She's a highly manipulative woman. The dinner whore piece also speaks to being highly manipulated. Now let's look at the statements that she made.
Okay.
Nicki Minaj said in her statements during that concert that you don't depend on a man for shit, right?
Nobody responded to that, Obsidian.
Hang on, let me finish.
Nobody. Listen. No. Okay, go ahead.
That's what she started off with.
Thank you, everybody in the chat room who's saying we're not triggered by Nicki Minaj. Nobody is triggered by Nicki Minaj. Nobody gave a fuck about Nicki Minaj. Why are you saying?
If that were true, why would we respond at all?
Because she's one of the most famous people on earth.
It wouldn't matter. So what?
Hold on. She came into the Black Manosphere's backyard and threw a rock through the window.
And all you have to do is just go into a new glass.
Okay, so you're basically saying ignore it.
Yes.
But you're making it seem like we're responding to it because she's whatever you're saying. She's dark triad. She's manipulative. She looks a certain way. We're obsessed with her.
Who was taking all? I didn't say obsession. I didn't use that word.
Okay, all right. I thought that word got used on your screen.
No, I didn't use that word. I never used.
Okay, all right. Why? Okay, I want you to make the case of why you. I don't think you've substantiated the claim that people are triggered by Nicki Minaj.
I was trying to lay it out.
Okay, all right, but
using the footage that DJ Academics presented.
How was that triggering if we didn't even know that footage exists until she listen? This is why men gave a negative response because
okay,
she looked
go ahead.
She looked in the camera and she basically said, "Shut the fuck up talking about black women. Who the fuck do you think you are, boy? Eat a dick, you bitch ass nigga." Like that was why we responded.
Okay,
because the whole thing that we do on our platforms, where we offer counter arguments to a lot of the bullshit that women have been saying, she basically said, "Who the fuck do you think you are to say anything to us, bitch?" And then we offered a rebuttal. That's not us being so triggered by Nicki Minaj because she's dark triad and da-da-da-da-da. No. She basically just looked in the camera and called us some bitches.
Facts.
So we responded. If
hold on.
If one of the most famous people on earth it gets triggered by you or gets triggered by a group of men that you're a part of, and she goes on an unprompted rant going off and snapping, you can't then spin that around and say that we're so triggered by her because we want to turn a hoe into a housewife. That's what you're arguing here.
All right. Scratch that. Question. Bernard, do you think Nicki Minaj was actually talking to you? Do you feel that way? I'm asking Bernard Riley. When she said what you just got finished saying, do you, Bernard Riley, feel she was speaking to you?
Yes, because she was talking about men who do what I do, and she defined it. And so yes, she was talking to men that do the type of content that I do.
Okay. Now,
I don't personalize it.
No, I'm asking you personally. I want you to take it personally. Do you think she was talking about you?
I don't even know if she know I exist, but she was talking about the type of content that I do and the type of content that Kevin do and the type of content that you do.
All right, now I'm glad you brought it to me. Because Ty City's argument was she was talking to you too, Obsidian, and he used as proof my mock ad made 2 years ago. The Wookie Weave and Lace Front Warehouse. Right? So my response to Ty City was, okay, so you're telling me that Nicki Minaj is aware of who I am predicated on the ad. She heard the ad. The ad was made 2 years ago, and I haven't played it in over a year. So
it's mentioned in the Elle magazine, though.
I'm about to get there. I'm about to get there. Let me get there. I'm about to get there. I said, wait a minute. I think I figured it out. I was featured in Elle magazine, in which the author of the article, Nicole Young, relates my playing the ad And I actually did it for 2 reasons, and neither had anything to do with her. One was because I was testing out the system to make sure everything was working right. Sound checking.
Stop the cap.
No, it's true.
That might be true. I believe him on.
I'm
I believe
joking.
him on that. I believe him on that.
It's true. And number 2, because I have a funny sense of humor. I have an odd sense of humor. That was the whole point of making the mock ads to begin with. 24 in all. I never counted or tallied up how many I did, but I went back and counted them. 24 in all, and over 2/3 of them are about black men, not black women. Anyway, going back to Elle magazine. So I said, well, I was featured in Elle magazine. Nicole Young did mention that ad. Is it possible that Nicki Minaj might have gotten wind of it via Elle magazine? So I decided to look up and find out. As it turns out, Nicki Minaj has been on the cover of Elle magazine over 6 times. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Her being a well-known fashionista, it's not out of the realm of possibility that she knew about that article, and by extension the ad. Now, since we've gotten that out of the way, we've established that chances are high she knows who I am. Okay, we got that. Now we have to bring the question back that I asked you. Now I apply it to me. Do I feel that Nicki Minaj was personally referencing me? No, I don't. No, I don't. No. Nope.
Okay.
And the reason why is very simple. I'm not, when I listened to her concert tape, I'm talking about the one that DJ Academics talked about. When I listened to it in full, what she was saying, it didn't apply to me.
What did the concert tape got to do with this
What
discussion?
about the when she was with Button?
Well, right. Y'all guys don't have nothing to say. But I wasn't thinking about Nicki Minaj when I made the tape.
When you made
2 years ago. When I made that mock ad, I wasn't thinking about Nicki Minaj 2 years ago.
Nobody was thinking about Nicki. Hold on, wait, Obsidian. None of us was thinking about Nicki Minaj until she told us.
No, I don't think she was talking to me then. Unless she uses my name and specifically talks to a particular point, I don't think she's talking to me. She can be talking about other black men, but she ain't talking about me.
Okay. Even if she described exactly what it is that you do, and something that
I have to admit, and I have to admit, when I went back and listened to the Wookie Weave and Lace Front, I have to admit, I gotta admit, it is uncanny how I described Nicki Minaj 2 years before the fact. That was uncanny. I have to admit that.
I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, yeah.
I mean, the fix a flat butt enhancer. I mean, it was. Not just the Wookie Weave itself, but the fix a flat butt enhancer.
Yeah.
The Cupid doll eyelid, eyelash.
Yep.
The dragon lady nail. I nailed her. I nailed her. So I just smiled when she got triggered. I said, well, hit dog holler.
Yeah, shout out to I know in your stream, I didn't watch all of it. I mean, after all, it was 7 hours long. Of course, I didn't watch all of it, but I remember, I don't know why you were playing some clips of David Carroll, but I do want to reference David Carroll. Remember when Cynthia G would be going in on the pro-blacks, and it would be pro-black men just sitting right there next to her and nodding and stuff like that, and David Carroll would be like, like basically David Carroll would be like, tap tap tap. She's talking about you too, nigga. That's how I think you should be taking everything that Nicki Minaj said. She didn't make no distinctions, just like Cynthia G never made no. She never excluded the pro-blacks that sit on the panel with her. Tap tap tap. She's talking about you too. Shout out to
interesting you say that, Bernard, because I did indeed.
Shout out to the late, great David Carroll.
I did indeed use David Carroll's footage. And the footage that I used, David Carroll was making the point that he had noticed something. He noticed 2 things about Cynthia G from observation. The first thing
is irrelevant to. Okay, go ahead.
But that's what I played. That's the exact footage I played to make a point about this current situation we're talking about. The first thing he noticed, because Cynthia G is a dark triad woman, just like Nicki Minaj. The first thing that he observed was that Cynthia G seemed to get a sexual charge out of berating black men that she had reason to believe were not on her same intellectual level.
Okay.
She would seek out black men who she had reason to believe were not on her level and then berate them, and she got a sexual charge out of it. That's the first thing. That's the first thing he noticed.
That's a fair assessment. That kind of thing she get
The
off from it
second
too.
thing, the second thing he noticed was that, again, she would only deal with men that she knew were beneath her. Now, what does this have to do with me again? I said, Nicki Minaj ain't talking to me. What does this have to do with me? Because I then said in my live yesterday that everybody in the black manosphere knows I got Cynthia G's number. Every time I show up where Cynthia G is, she takes flight. She do me like I'm Omar from The Wire. It's Omar, yo. It's Omar. Run. And there's a reason for it. She knows that I'm every bit her superior, not her equal, her superior intellectually. She knows it. See, this is the reason why dark triad women do what they do. Now I'm going to show you the parallel between her and Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj, I know a lot of brothers don't want to accept it, but Nicki Minaj had a completely different reaction to Kevin Samuels than all the other guys she talks about and talks with, even Joe Budden.
Stop the cap.
Even Joe Budden.
Obsidian. Obsidian. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Why would she continue to say, why would she continue to exempt Kevin in her rants against black men? Why would
Because he
she include
capitulated.
them all? Why couldn't she just include them all? This is what Cynthia G does. Cynthia G doesn't make any bones about it. She has said it. We don't have to. Actually, she said it.
I've heard her on occasions exclude the capitulators who sit on her panel and try to berate black men.
Yes,
I've heard her
tactic.
do that. I've heard her do that.
Okay, so do you believe that? Do you believe that?
No, I don't believe
when she excludes them. Do you believe that?
No, I think she's still talking about them.
Okay.
You just said she's dark triad, right?
Well, hang on.
So she's a fucking liar, right?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say liar. See, Bernard, you have a very good tendency to put words where the words never existed. Okay. I didn't use the words liar. I said manipulative. Okay. I said manipulative.
Is one of the characters of a dark triad person to be a liar?
Is one of the very much so. But here's the thing.
Okay.
I didn't use the word liar. I said manipulative.
If you said dark triad, that includes everything under the umbrella of dark triad.
Well, dark triad also means very attractive.
Okay, I don't know what's.
No, it does matter. It does matter. Hang on. It does matter.
I know what you're trying to say. Okay, tell me if I'm wrong. You're trying to circle this back to we're somehow triggered by Nicki Minaj and what she says because we're just so attracted to her.
That's a big part of it.
That has nothing to do with it
because we wasn't
thinking about
fuck out of here.
Okay,
we weren't thinking nothing about what Nicki Minaj said.
The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie.
What numbers?
Let me send you the numbers right now. Give me a minute. Let me pull them up. Give me one moment. I have them. Let me get them for you. Let's see.
Did somebody? Hey, is my mic low? Aaron B is saying my mic is low. Is that true? Hold on one second.
I hear you good.
Well, real quick, shout out to ARC. He said says exactly BR women are not. This is from we move way on. From
he's
shout out to ARC. He said women are not that challenging to deal with on a micro level. I've never found black women to be challenging to understand one-on-one. Well, some of them are, but if you deal with enough of them, you get a good elimination process. So, and I mean, part of what you talk about with your methods is to quickly categorize who's who and where they at, and so you know what to know where to put them and what to do going forward with them. So, yes, if you have a good filtering process, then they're not hard to deal with on a micro level. So we basically agree. Yeah, we agree right there. But macro, he said, but the macro now this is worthy of many discussions and debate. Yeah, the macro is a big deal. Edward Anderson, I owe you a formal apology because ARC super chat been kind of blocking you. You've been getting blocked by ARC.
That's fine. I've been doing shit.
I forgot you were right there, but But overall, listen, I just want to say this, and while Obsidian pulling up data,
Yeah, it's in the chat room. It's in the chat room right now. It's called Cloud.
You're talking about her music numbers?
Yes.
Album sales?
All of
it. Yeah. So let me do this. I'll come back when we done playing with this rabbit hole shit.
Yeah. All right. Let me hold on, Ed. I'm about to go to you. I'm about to put a final bow on this. I don't know the reason why you would take the manosphere reacting to one of the most famous people on earth, literally making as close as you can come to a direct statement about the manosphere. I don't know how you could take the manosphere responding to it as, why is everybody so triggered by Nicki Minaj? In saying that something about the way she looks is the reason why we're getting triggered. I don't care if it was Missy Elliott who's never been considered a beauty queen. If back when she was hot, if the manosphere existed and she would have had an interview with Joe Budden and she would have said similar shit to what Nicki Minaj said, it would have warranted at least some reaction videos. That's all we're doing. So Nicki Minaj made the news cycle because she unprompted came at the manosphere, came at Fresh and Fit. She excluded Kevin Samuels and then described exactly what it is that Kevin Samuels do, and then said, and if you do that, you blah 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 blah, eat a dick. She did all it so to say that the manosphere overall are somehow, I don't even know the exact words that you use, but you're basically saying that some attraction we have to her, some affinity to her, we lust after her, but also repulsed by her, or all of this stuff. I'm like, come on, man, that's not what's happening here. That is in no way, shape, or form what's happening here, and I don't know why you would even go this route. It's almost like you're saying she came in and she said she basically said this shit about the manosphere. It's undeniable. Now I gave the benefit of the doubt when she was at the early in her first. I got you, Ed. In her first interview with Kevin Samuels, I gave the benefit of the doubt. She was like, some dudes on TikTok or whatever, or any. I was like, okay, maybe she don't know about the sphere. But after she's done her research, I'm pretty sure she's done her research to where she came unprompted and triggered. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts. You know about this space. She was talking about us. So it is what it is. We're going to respond. It ain't got nothing to do with her being dark triad or having a fat ass or whatever the hell. And her album sales don't prove whatever point. I'm just like, I don't. I hate to use the term. When I said before, sometimes you'll go dumpster diving for a narrative, but I can't call it dumpster diving because sometimes your narrative will take hold. I mean, hell, when I was listening to you and Ty City, Ty City said it best. You will create something that's not there and have everybody arguing over something that don't even exist, and that's what's happening here.
Facts.
That's what's happening here. That's my opinion on
this. Let me ask you a question then.
So here we go back into it.
And I promise. I'll let him ask this. I'm gonna answer it in one sentence.
You said you sound like you're doing this instead of just saying, Obsidian, what are you doing here?
Obsidian, what are you doing here?
I'm making a novel case. See, I like curiosity. I like curiosity. I like thinking of alternative ways of doing things. I'm a very curious guy, always have been.
It sounds like you're coming up with an alternative way to just yield.
Why do we care?
You're coming up with an alternative way to just yield to the gynocracy. That's what you're doing.
I'm trying. No,
that's what it sounds like.
That's what you. Why don't you ask?
Okay. Go ahead. What are you doing?
Don't make statements. Ask. I started out by asking a question. If Jemele Hill wants to know why there are so many podcasts by black men seemingly belittling black women, why don't she go and sit down and talk to those people and find out? See, a big part of the problem in Black America is we're not curious. And the reason why is because we've already made up our minds. We've already figured it out. We already know what the conclusion is. And we want to beat the other side into submission. Both sides. Black men want to beat black women into submission because they already figured it out. Black women want to beat black men into submission because they already figured it out. Neither side is willing to consider the possibility that they may be wrong about something. I'm always considering the possibility that I'm wrong about something.
Nigga, we spent 10 years considering the possibility if we're wrong. What are you talking about? No, I'm getting animated because what you're doing, this is bullshit. What you're doing is you're hijacking the panel because you know that Bernard has a certain semblance of, I won't say owing you, but respect for you. This is bullshit.
See what I'm talking about here? See what I'm talking about?
Like everybody knows what you're doing.
All right.
See what I'm talking about?
Ed. All right, Ed, go ahead. What point?
No, you know what? Fuck this shit.
No,
this is an Obsidian interview. My bad. I shouldn't have came the fuck up.
Ed.
I take responsibility.
Ed, this ain't what the hell? Come on, Ed. This ain't an Obsidian. Stop. This ain't an Obsidian interview. All right. I said I was passing it to you. I'm passing it to you. I forgot you was down there because the super chat was blocking out your name. But I'm passing it to you. You got the floor. You got the mic. This ain't an Obsidian interview. He did. Normally, when people come up with a contrarian view, they normally get the most attention. And he came up giving a view that was contrary to the manosphere completely, in my opinion. So that's why, we went back and forth with him. But you can take it. You got the floor. You got the mic.
Shit, fuck me. I ain't heard Rod say a complete sentence yet. I mean, I've been listening for 30 minutes.
Me and Obsidian been arguing. So
salute.
Rob's just doing ad libs. But anyway,
go ahead.
Okay, let me take ARC's comment and re-anchor myself, because I originally came up here for Jemele Hill's thing, the title, and that's what kind of happened last time. I came up for a title on something completely different. I understand people move on. I do it too. So let's anchor with Alan Roger Curry, what he said. There was actually two things that prompted me coming up. What Dead Set Anime said, which is that super chat talking about what we need to do and what's important. The political bullshit and the corporate interests and the political interests are completely irrelevant, because you cannot do anything with that until you get a plurality of black men on the same page. Period. So our first objective, people can have their own advocacy things. I respect that. But our first objective is to create a communication pipeline with as many black men as possible. This is why I tend to give Kevin Samuels a lot of latitude, because Kevin Samuels is pretty much gotten, regardless of how he's gotten there, he's in the position where he can kind of get that portal open the most. I'm not saying people can't criticize him. But what I'm saying is people need to stop forgetting about that very point. The other thing with Nicki Minaj, at the end of the day, we can break down Nicki Minaj because that's content. We are content creators. That is what we do. But that pays the bills, and that's what keeps people entertained. And she did mention us in 1 or 2 degree separation, which is a lot more than us just creating like a celebrity junk or us reaching. You know what I'm saying? We're directly talked about. So we're going to say this. If we're going to say that then, why wouldn't we say that now? So it's definitely worthy of a debate. The thing is, though, Nicki already lost. Because the game that women have played, the social media game that a lot of these chicks have played, you know the names, I don't need to repeat them, has been... I did not.
You did. That. No, Ed, you was talking fast, and maybe it sounded like that to me in the audience.
Freudian slip.
You accidentally
not a Freudian slip. I mean, it's a verbal thing.
Way,
yeah.
you accidentally said Kevin Scam you, but it was funny. But
FYI, just to put that up there, niggas will run with it, and then I'm gonna get the blame for that shit. By the way,
it was. I think it was legitimately an accident.
I got it, but we got a lot of whole niggas in the space.
Yeah.
Not ARC, but I'm just saying. Yeah, so like I was saying, she already lost. The game that these social media women have been playing is just not talking. Either they don't want to mention people by name if they mention something, or they want to AKA regulate, which is get YouTube, AKA the white man on black men. These are the same bitches that are asking for protection from black men. And I'm talking about all of them. I'm not even talking about just Cynthia G. There's a whole spectrum over there. We know who they are. And so the fact that you can en route around them and get somebody with 173 million, she's not the first. You got like a lot of, even what's that Jessie Woo bitch, that reality show chick. The fact that you got people saying stuff about him and by proxy, these other people, Kevin Samuels and the Black Manosphere band, that is going to have people look and see who the fuck are these people. I want to see how fucked up they really are, blah, blah, blah. Some of them are going to be dudes. And people are going to figure out, oh, these people know a lot more. They're going to find an Obsidian. They're going to find a BGS or whoever, a Pete. They're going to get dragged into a conversation that they pretty much never could really have on the ground without getting cussed out or getting pussy put on the platter. taken off the table. So the point is that's an L. Every time she even mentions or alludes to Fresh and Fit, that is an L. Every time she mentions Kevin Samuels, that is an L, because this fear that people think that they're just gonna press a switch and kill everybody YouTube channel, I don't think is gonna happen, and we've been through that before. So that's that. But the last thing is, on the Dead Set Anime thing, until we network with as many black men as we can, you can't do the political thing. You can't do the corporate interest thing. And to be very clear about that, the reason why black women are catered to is because of their spending power. And that's why they're broke. Black men are not going to match black women in spending power because we're men. We actually invest in creating and building things, not just paying money to be told what you want to fucking hear. So until you solve those problems, talking about the corporate interests, all that is moot. And I'm not saying that that's not a place you need to go eventually. It's that things are in their proper place. I could go on what ARC was saying, but I'm gonna leave it right there for right now.
All right, good stuff. Rod, you ain't said nothing in a while. Ed was right there.
Somebody accused me that Move It chick saying I want to be famous for talking about black women for the past 10 years, but don't expect any criticism. Like that's an insane comment. Like it's almost like I'm talking to somebody in an insane asylum. Like when I'm talking to y'all think the world, like the sun is the earth or whatever. The reality of the situation is Nicki Minaj, it's the reverse. Black women have been talking about black men for decades. I remember, I'm only 35 coming up in the Montel Williams shit. Maybe we need to bring those shows back and bring those clips so y'all can see that, since y'all want to pretend that didn't exist. Ricky Lake, Montel Williams, all the fucking shows. And the reality is, it's us for the past 10 years that's been saying something, and that's starting to get traction. Here's the truth. We have no problem with the criticism. It's the women that are afraid on the equal playing field to actually say that, because y'all gonna have to address that. Think of Nicki Minaj for example.
Yeah, well, hold on, Ed. You kind of made the point. I do want to go to Rob, but you kind of made the point that I made at the beginning, where I essentially was pointing out to responding to Jemele Hill's tweet that was sort of in a similar vein as what Nicki Minaj was talking about. Even though the show didn't have nothing to do with Nicki Minaj, it was more about Jemele Hill, and she made a tweet talking about male content creators or whatever making platforms where they do as what she interpreted as demean or belittle or gaslight women, or in particular black women. She made a tweet about that, and she was saying that the opposite doesn't exist as far as what she knows. And the general point that I was pointing out, that no, this stuff has been out there for years, to the point to where boys, like we grew up with it in our psyche that men were generally bad, and we grew up trying to overcorrect it. Like it was a serious thing with me.
10 more seconds, I promise.
And then 10 more seconds, then Rod got it.
Uva has been pretty respectful, and it's been respectful in the chat, so she's fine. But if we had a bigger network, and we have a bigger enough one now, we need to basically bombard Jemele Hill with all of the abort black male babies, all of the hanging black men pictures while a black chick swing, because she want to play that game. She can't say she don't see it. If she cuts her Twitter off, then we know she got it. That's how you respond to that.
That is smart. That is smart. We probably should go to that post, and don't say nothing crazy. No, don't be all attacking, but just drop some links. just drop some links on there. That's probably all we need to do with that.
Show Jemele Hill.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rod, you got it.
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm going to take a pregnant pause here so that it's emphasized. Angry Man was right. Angry Man was the first major content creator in this space to say this Nicki Minaj is targeting the black manosphere. Nicki Minaj is targeting what gentlemen like Kevin Samuels, Obsidian, O'Shea, Ed, me, you, everybody from the smallest content creator to the largest ones. She was targeting us. And Angry Man was also the first to say that she was taking shots directly at Obsidian. He said that when she put out that tweet saying, after Obsidian went on the whole Pookies aren't good in bed, and she out of nowhere put out a tweet talking about how good her husband was in bed. Angry Man was the first person to say that, and it's true. And if you study ancient warfare, where in ancient warfare does it say, underestimate your opponent, assume your opponent isn't studying your every move? I'm telling y'all, the black manosphere is a lot bigger than the numbers show, and that people are talking about us, that you can be viewed other than in your view count, that people can literally download our videos and email it out into their circle or group chat it to their circle, take clips and group chat. I'm telling you, they've been watching this space, and that's why the space is under attack.
Yeah, agreed. We got ARC in the building, but hold on real quick. Sodomy and Chicken said, I remember Oprah Weinstein bashing black men when I was 12 years old. Jemele Hills needs to get the F out of here. Shout out to everybody who's been supporting the stream. I've been doing horrible with the super chats today. Got a faulty system here because my mouse died on me, and so I'm operating the show from the laptop, even though it's connected to the computer. It's hard to explain. But Charles Merchant in the building says, in this space, black men merely holding up a mirror to the queens. Is Jemele offended at what she sees? Is Jemele offended at what she sees? She should take it up with the sisterhood of material success, but not no husbands. All right. Shout out to you. Real quick. Hold on. Obsidian, mute. I think that's you, Obsidian. Mute up just real quick because I'm getting some feedback. Damn it. So Sam up doing the building. He says, BR and oh man, what it is. Salute Ed and Pablo. Son is Hot Rod in the building. He says, I respect you, oh man, but it seems like you don't respect our intelligence. I mean, come on. Album sales. Black Uru Strikes in the building says, the Velociraptor claws really freaked me out. Absolutely. Rorschach in the building says, Obsidian, why do you do this to yourself? Black Uru back again said, trust and believe. They know who all of you are.
Facts.
I sometimes I'm skeptical of that, but one thing, okay, maybe it's possible she don't know me by name, but she's very, very familiar with this space. That part is undeniable. Like I gave a pass when that original video. She said she saw some Kevin Samuels clips, but she didn't know the full context. She said she heard some dudes on TikTok cutting up and whatever, so, but I was like, maybe she don't know. I wasn't ready to jump out the window with it, but Joe Button ain't say shit to her about nothing, and she just came out of nowhere. Oh yeah. And these motherfuckers,
she had it in the tuck. Yeah.
So it's no doubt after that Kevin Samuels interview, she did her research. So yeah, and that it removed all doubt of where she's at with it. So yeah. Captain Cisco, also shout out to you. He says black men will go to church if you. Oh yeah, I already read that one. Okay. All right. Sorry for the people who super chats I missed, but we got ARC in the building. Let me move that Brandon. We
salute to the GOAT patriarch.
Salute to ARC. Welcome to the show. You got the floor. You got the mic.
Good morning, man. Yeah, this has been an interesting listen. And Aaron B, I saw your comment saying, "Oh no, we get ready to hear ARC start yelling." So see, just for that, I'm gonna try to keep my voice low. Number one, Jemele Hill. Yeah, I happened to, after I saw you put her in the title, I looked it up on Twitter and I saw what she said. And she believes it. She's trying to act like she's surprised, but nobody's really surprised. Jaquan said, BR, you got to play ARC's intro. He didn't play, I don't mind. He didn't play that intro.
Oh, no, I haven't been playing no intros, man. I'm trying to revamp some things and make it to where I just got sound audio clips without the video. I got sort of tired of doing I'm trying to revamp some things, but the intro, all the intros and drops, everything will be making a comeback. Just give me some time. But anyway,
in your studio, man, I see these incremental improvements, man.
Appreciate it.
You got it looking real fly.
Thank you.
Jemele, yeah, man. Here's the thing, man. For years in the 70s, 80s, 90s, maybe even very early 2000s, the only way you really had a chance to have a voice is you had to have a corporate sponsor voice.
Yeah.
And during that period, Black women got a hell of a lot of leeway from mainstream media factions to say whatever they wanted to without any major repercussions. So plain and simply, without getting long-winded, I mean, brothers now have the opportunity to say what they really want to say, and what in many cases they had already been saying at somebody's barbecue or in somebody's basement on a podcast, and they don't have to depend on Dove soap or Nike gym shoes or whatever other corporate sponsor to back. Because see, everybody knows once you have corporate sponsors, soon as you I never forget, I got to give this side story real quick. Bill Maher used to have a show called Politically Incorrect on ABC. And one time, Arsenio Hall was a guest. And Bill Maher was bragging on himself, saying he was basically the most unapologetically honest and straightforward guy on network television. Arsenio just started chuckling. And Bill Maher was like, "Why are you chuckling?" And I'm going to paraphrase Arsenio's words, but he was like, "Dude, you ain't truly outspoken. Yeah, you might be considered outspoken, comparatively speaking, to other people on network television. But compared to average man," he said, you're not outspoken. He said, "I guarantee you, the first time you say something that your corporate sponsor, who is ABC and Disney, doesn't like, you're going to be off the air." And Bill Maher tried to say, "No, I don't agree with that." Sure enough, what happened?
He got took off the air.
Bill Maher said that he felt like the U.S. played a role in 9/11, and a week later, ABC was like, "You gone, dude. You out."
Yep.
So anyway, going back to Jemele Hill, man, yeah, men gonna speak their mind, whether it's good commentary coming out, not so desirable commentary coming out. At least they feel comfortable speaking their mind because they don't have to worry about it. They get sponsorship from their individual subscribers and so on. As far as the part about people, celebrities say paying attention, that's valid. Because see, I think I might have said it one time on your own stream, Bernard, but I'll say this about me. This when I first realized it was when I was on Blog Talk Radio. I heard it from at least two guys. First guy was this guy named Rael Sims. He was a colleague of my frat brother, Tavis Smiley, and we were talking after I interviewed him on my show. And he knows a lot of celebrities. And he was like, "Man, you getting talked about out here?" I said, "About who?" He said, "Many celebs." And then he named some by name. I said, "You telling me these people listen to my upfront?" He said, "Oh, man." He said, "People be listening. You don't know. You always mention the term now is in the clouds." I don't know if he used that term, but he used a term similar. He said, "Yeah, you're not going to see these celebs in your chat room or see them writing you notes." But he said, "Because I'm cool with them, they'll say, 'Yeah, man, I caught that episode up front and straightforward, Alan Roger Curry last night, and he was talking about this, this, and this." And I said, "Really?" I was genuinely surprised. I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Oh, yeah." And then a few months later, Tariq Nasheed told me the same thing. I was on this site called PUA Hate, and he was basically encouraging me to get off and not argue with trolls. And he said, "Man, don't waste your time arguing with these trolls, man. You got celebrities talking about your books." And I was like, kind of like, "Get out of here." He's like, "No, seriously." He said, "I know a lot of celebs, man, be talking about Mode 1 and shit." So anyway, without getting long on that, I'm convinced that a lot of black celebrities as well as non-black celebrities, because this is growing, man. Somebody mentioned on live stream recently, man, because you got YouTubers and podcasters making, 6 figures, in some cases 7 figures.
Yeah.
People gonna start paying attention, and then on not even on the money piece, when you're just saying stuff that's unconventional and goes against mainstream media, normals and conventions, people gonna pay attention to that.
Exactly.
And so again, just like Tariq and that other guy told me, you might not see celebrities saying Bernard's chat room. They might not ever write Bernard an email, but you best believe, man, there's some Hollywood entertainers that have checked out the Grown Man Hour and was taking notes on things that was said. It was like, it's probably some celebrity right now saying, "Dan, how Bernard has improved the studio? It's really excellent now." And somebody else is like, and then my final thing would be this, and this is over half the reason I did jump up here. Somebody earlier, and then somebody in the chat room, when I related to my super chat, said we need to have some discussions because black men and black women don't understand each other. I can only speak for myself, man. Ain't nothing about black women I don't understand.
Me too.
Nothing. Now, that's not to be confused with somebody's going to always exhibit behavior in your life, whether it's your children, your siblings, your parents, that you don't approve of, that you frown on, you disagree with, you don't condone. That's a different story. But as far as just literally and genuinely, you don't understand, like somebody left your head, you scratching your head, I want to invite somebody to give me an example of something a black woman has done, particularly with you individually in a one-on-one interaction, that you were sitting there saying, damn, I don't understand why she's doing this. I wouldn't be qualified myself to be a book author or dating coach if I didn't understand the psychology of women. And so I would like for somebody to bring to me something that they think is very confusing and hard to understand about women. Like all the women I talk about, a good example in my book, Possibility of Sex and No Free Attention. I break down my understanding of each of the archetypes who tend to exhibit behavior that men frown on. Like cheaters and adulterers. No man wants his wife, fiance, or girlfriend to cheat on him, and they would probably be upset if they did. But that doesn't mean that they don't, in most cases, they don't understand. I always have understood why women cheat. There's never been no big question mark on my head. I don't approve of it. I don't condone it. But I'll be damned if I say I don't understand it. I more than understand why any woman does anything she does related to sex. I'm just going to be honest. I understand every motivation for everything women do as it relates to sex. To the point where when people bring stuff up to me and say, damn, Alan, can you believe that this woman did this? I always say, yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. Ain't shit I not understand related to why a woman does what she does, again, particularly as it relates to sex. So I don't think it's so hard to understand. But anyway.
My ARC voice, drops mic.
Yeah, but with respect,
okay.
A lot of what the black man is, so you have the dating part, and then you have this kind of gray area where I think you occupy in, even though you're more in the dating part of it, with the, of it, because we have people that they talk about man's issues, and then people that they straight on the dating shit, and they're like a Lucario or somebody like that. What we're talking about here, and I get this is relevant because there is sexual motivations to a lot of what women do, even in a lot of their criticisms of us. Like, for instance, they want to talk about dudes going overseas because at the end of the day, they want the resources to stay here, but it's at first right of refusal, but they don't want you to go nowhere. But the thing is, the main stuff that we're talking about on right now is more of it was what you said in the chat. It's more of that macro political power thing, and what you said with the corporate interest part. And I agree with that, because I said if you can't match black women's spending, not buying power, because we make more than black women do as a group and individually, but we don't spend as much as they do because men don't spend as much as women. Once they rotated the advertising to the females, because we know women have control of the money because husbands are giving it to the wives and all of that. This is why Gillette was able to do what they were able to do. One of the things you would have to do is match that if you want to deal with the corporate interest part. We know that's not going to happen just by nature of men don't spend money as much as women do. This is why black women are broke, because they spending money on TV and all other crap. But that being said, the issue we're dealing with is more so them using corporate interest, is why a lot of chicks over there will say that YouTube needs to regulate our space. And even somebody like Mediocre Tutorials, which is not hardcore in the slightest, is in that, as he lost a sponsorship over some stupid stuff. We're talking about a different thing. And I think what happens is, and they may be some sexual frustrated dudes in the space, but everything always gets microcosm into, we're trying to understand the sexual part of women, versus really we're talking from black women being like a subsidiary of white supremacy in the way they're operating. Because we know black women know what they're doing. They can pretend they're dumb, but they know that they're, and Jemele Hill's a perfect example of this. Jemele Hill knows what's out there because she's been talking about Trump and other stuff and got herself fired from ESPN too much for her to be that goofy about it. So for her, I'm going to say this, I'm going to wrap it up here. This is my question. For her to make the one statement in saying that she doesn't know of the women and what they say, whether it's fuck social media, but like in mainstream media. So your Ivana Van Zams back in the day and stuff like that. Do you believe that she was being genuine, true about that? Or do you think she was being disingenuous about saying she don't see the female criticism of black men? Because that's essentially what she said.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell you, I had a lengthy. I know Obsidian don't like when people bring in the past, but I had a lengthy, heated email exchange with Obsidian back in 2019. And it relates.
Was it that like 19 back and forth? Because I remember a lot of people was on that, and I was like, God damn.
We went back and forth, and it kind of relates to this conversation. The only reason I'm bringing it up, because I don't remember everything that was said, but at one point he was kind of charging me with failing to respond to a lot of women, particularly here on YouTube, like your Cynthia G's and others. And I basically responded with, I don't give a fuck about what they say. And he mentioned somebody said something from Madame Noir and Essence. And I basically said, I don't give a fuck what none of them women say in those platforms. Because I understand what their ulterior motive is, which simply is to make money. You know, and so to answer your question about Jemele Hill, none of these sisters who it look like they don't know what they're doing and don't know what they're talking about, or they don't know what's going on. Fuck yeah, they know what's going on.
Exactly.
They're trying to make money. When it comes down to nitty gritty, they're trying to build the biggest fan base they can build and make money. Here's the reality of a lot of these sisters, man, the ones who got a voice, whether it's mainstream, social media, or a blend of both. Some of these sisters can't even stand other sisters. They'll publicly act like, oh, sister, I got your back. Oh, sister, yeah, tell it, sister. Man, most of them sisters can't stand these other sisters. They can't stand them, but they know that if they express that publicly, they're going to look like a traitor to their own combination of their race and gender. So they play that, you know, I'm down with the sisterhood until they have a breaking point. Now, I think we saw, I don't even keep up with that much, but Crystal Cares, and didn't she have a breaking point recently where she was like, fuck you bitches?
But here's the problem, ARC, and I'll let you rock, and this is like 10 seconds. You know that, but it's a lot of black men that don't know that. And when we're having these conversations, the purpose of it, and I'm not the purpose of it, as far as my perspective, is not to change female behavior. It is to get these goofy dudes that really like, because I know you take black men off the table, women start acting like cats, including black women. If hating on black men gets removed from the table and they got to deal with each other, on each other, all that stuff generally goes out the window relatively quickly, which is why black women don't support other black women when it comes to nail salons and hair and stuff. But anyway, my point is that a lot of black men, we'll call them blue pill for lack of a better term, they don't understand that. They don't understand that like a Jemele Hill is doing what she's doing for her own selfish needs. And when they say she's pro-black and she's for black people, these dumbass niggas actually buy into that. And that's part of the problem. Because when I talk about our ability to network people with as many black men in the United States as possible, a lot of the resistance that we get is not even from women. It's from other men that are just too fucking stupid to pull their head out their ass. Like, let's even talking about it from what you're talking about with the books that you've written and the works that you do. There's still dudes that are completely in denial of shit. They read your shit, they'll be in denial of that shit because they'll be in denial with all of the
agree
media.
with you on that.
With all of the media, with Nicki Minaj, with Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, all the stuff that's on mainstream media today, which was not there when you first wrote your stuff. So to be fair, you had a whole media apparatus kind of going against the narrative you were saying. That's not as true anymore. That gap has been closed significantly. They still on that stupid shit. And we're talking about younger dudes. I ain't even talking about older dudes. We could just do 35 and under. And so that kind of dovetails into the stuff that we deal with because the nature of what they think women are is just fundamentally bent. I get that it's socialization. What I'm saying is that's our challenge to deal with, because if we can deal with that and get enough dudes on the same relatively general page, now we can start doing stuff because now bigger forces have to start responding to that. Anyway.
Well, here's where I'm confused, Ed. You said a lot of valid stuff in your commentary, but you kind of started off this by giving me the impression that you had a specific pointed disagreement to what I was saying about understanding women's motivations, and I didn't hear one.
Okay, well,
So,
my focused disagreement is I get that you understand women's motivations. The first it's not so much a disagreement, it's that women's motivations, like their selfish motivations, is cool. The problem becomes when they start doing it at a collective level to affect black men, i.e., let's say what Chris Brown almost had to deal with. Because one of the arguments that get made, and this gets laid at your feet, is if you a nigga that's on your square and you look good enough, there's this mediocre called it handsome privilege. He actually recently, where, you know, if you talk to a chick, you're gonna get a different response than if somebody that's ugly talks to a chick. That very well may be true, but my point is that even dudes that operate on, let's call it the select end of the spectrum, they have their own things they got to navigate, because then you can deal with child support, you can deal with women lying on you a lot more, because obviously you're going to have a lot more sexual exposures than maybe a non-select guy. And Chris Brown's the epitome of that, because Chris Brown pretty much gets a look past for the most part for most black women up until recently. And then when they took a shot at him, we can also do Deshaun Watson, who we can argue is an alpha male. You know, you can look at somebody like Bill Cosby, and he just got off. So my point is that a lot of dudes need to care whether they're active in pushing it on their own or doing it in their own way. Like, you have your works, that is what it is, it's fine. But I think a lot more dudes need to be aware of this, because I think too many dudes will listen to what you're saying and be like, I understand women too, and women like me, so it ain't a problem. Well, they like you until they want to take a shot at you.
Well,
again,
I think that
oh,
doesn't that go back to the micro macro thing that was in ARC super chat. You know, you talk about that macro scale, like, yeah, women be on some they be on some bull. They will join arms and rally behind, you know, a chick who clearly lying on somebody like Chris Brown, you know. So yeah, on the macro scale, yeah, they do some goofy stuff, but ARC has had fallouts with other YouTubers about this, because ARC will say, hey, I don't, you know, as it pertains to his books, other than probably the Beta Male Revolution, ARC, if I understand you right, you don't give a damn about all that macro shit as it pertains to your books. You deal more with the individual and from a psychological standpoint.
Yeah, you hit on here. Yeah, the Beta Male Revolution is my only book where I have portions that does discuss macro issues, but I'm all about the micro issues. But again, going back to even the Chris Brown situation, Deshaun Watson, here's what I would say. I don't think that's all about these guys having this handsome guy privilege. It's about money, man. I mean, I was touching on this on my very last live stream, is that I give the simple version. A lot of women, of course, starting with the 60s, the second wave of feminism combined with the sexual revolution, they wanted certain liberties, certain freedom, and they wanted certain social stigmas to go away. But then when hit it and quit it, or modern day pump and dump start coming more into play, it's like these women said, oh shit, I think we got fucked up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
think we
absolutely
really fucked up.
Yeah. So and everything is trying to keep that. They want to keep the dude under control, but they still want their hot girl summer. Go ahead.
Because they realize, among other things, one of the things they realize is once they became more sexually liberated, yes, the appeal of their sexual companionship went up, but simultaneously the appeal of their non-sexual companionship came crashing down. And they were like, holy shit. So I gave some commentary saying that now, fast forward to really starting with the mid-90s up until now, you got women that are motivated to give false date rape, false sexual assault charges, because that's part of their frustration and regret on how things have gone out of control in this modern day dating scene. And so, yeah, Chris Brown, man, I'm glad he had some documented receipts to prevent himself. But again, going back to my main point about disapproving of behavior versus not understanding. No man doesn't understand that woman's motivations for doing that. All of us probably disapprove of it, but it's only probably a small percentage of guys that don't understand the motivation. She wanted to take this dude down. She wanted to get some of his money and at the same time drop him down in the public eye. The best movie that I've often said relates to those type of scenarios is is Gone Girl, man. Gone Girl is the best, one of the best performances I ever saw specifically out of Tyler Perry. He probably had played a better role in that movie than he had any of his own movies. But here was the key scene involving Tyler Perry and Gone Girl. And I'm giving a spoiler alert. If you haven't seen that, I recommend that movie to any man. I was actually surprised that movie got greenlit. But it was because a woman wrote the original book and she wrote the screenplay. If that had been written by a man, that movie would have never been made. But anyway, Tyler Perry, there's a scene where Ben Affleck's about to go on air because he realizes his wife is just, this scandalous, manipulative bitch. And he's going to go on air and say that, basically. And Tyler Perry is basically like, oh, no, don't do that. And Ben Affleck's like, why? She's a bitch, she's trying to set me up for my. And Tyler Perry's
textbook bitch.
Tyler Perry's character is like, look, when it comes to he say, she say incidences, controversies, he said the general public is unless there's really concrete documented evidence, and in this case, Chris did have some. But he said that aside, he said the general public is always going to side with the woman. Whether it's right or wrong, valid, invalid. He said the general public, including a sizable percentage of the men, they're always going to side with the woman. He said, so you can't go out there and just start calling your wife a scandalous, manipulative bitch. He's basically like, first, you got to be self-deprecating. You basically got to make it look like you contributed to this whole thing between you and your wife. You got to go out there and say something like, you know what? I could have been a better husband. I fucked up. And say some critical things about yourself. And then slowly but surely you go in to pointed criticisms about your wife. But you can't just go out there on the mic and say, hey, my wife's a bitch. Because all women going to be like, oh my God, this dude's an asshole. I believe his wife. Yeah. And that's what men have been dealing with in real life for decades, man, and particularly in the era of media, man. Women are going to all, generally speaking, again, unless there's documented concrete evidence, women are always going to be looked at as the victim.
And this is why this is important. One of the things that I say as to why for lack of a better term, the black community is fucked in the future is because trust is, in my opinion, is not a renewable resource. Once you break that, it's like if you deforest Europe. Europe is not known for having forests. And at one point, Europe had a lot of forests. But that's not what you think of it today. Once you deforest something, it's not something where you can just put back. I think that women have this thing where they can lull black men back into sleep. We're talking about like any black man, that they can get them to believe in women again. And what I've stated is a lot of this stuff that they do. I'm not even talking about Jemele Hill, but take who's in the chat right now. When they play this stuff, like they try to reset history and they try to act like history started 10 years ago and the black men just got on YouTube, started talking shit. And then women are like, oh my gosh, where is this coming from? And there was nothing before. Like, what you're seeing is once dudes start to really wake up to that, they may deal with it in different ways, individuals, stuff like that. But there's a certain amount of trust that they lose. And if you get a critical mass of losing trust in your women, then a lot of what women get is predicated on men trusting them. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with a lot of benefits that women get is based on men trusting them?
Oh, for sure. I talk about that in Chapter 9 of the Possibility of Sex. I basically say, simplifying my own comments in a nutshell, I basically say, for a man, there's no point of being in a long-term relationship or a marriage if there's no trust there. I mean, that totally would defeat the point.
Now, when you look at a lot, and I'm not leading you anywhere, because I've been saying this for a minute, and I got you up when I asked. So when you look at where the Z's are and where the younger millennials are, would you say that they trust women less? And part of this is because of the media they've been shown. They've been shown a different media than when I grew up. I was shown the Brandies, the girl next door type of black women. They're shown this Nicki Minaj shit, right? At a mass level. So that's part of it. But would you think that the Z's and the younger millennials probably as a group trust women less than maybe the Xers, the boomers and the silent generation? Like, I'm saying that to establish that there has been each generation, men have trusted women a little bit less, to the point where you're going to get to a point where they're going to wake up one day and be like, why are these black dudes dealing with other women, and they're saying people of color, and they're not giving black women the first right of refusal?
I don't know if I can say, generally speaking, that young men trust. Well, you're talking about young brothers.
Yes.
Okay.
Black men in
I was
particular.
going to say across the board. I don't know if I agree.
Yeah.
I don't quite agree with that, specifically with brothers. Yes, because they because young brothers have seen even their own mothers, their black mothers, exhibit in their full glory. Like you take somebody like me, a late baby boomer. Man, I never saw my mother wild out in any kind of way. Neither her or two sisters, most of my aunts, man, because they came from a traditional generation. But see, I was right in that age where I saw the transition, again, which I touch on in the Beta Male Revolution, where women went from basically the traditional women of my mother and aunt's generation to starting with the 60s and 70s, like the 70s. I remember the 70s, man. That might have been the most free-spirited decade in the last 60 years. Man, people, like, I remember, man, one time I was
FYI, it was also the most inflated decade for a while since this new inflation. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, inflation. That's why, of course,
so the whole shit's coming
Jimmy
back.
Carter didn't get reelected because of inflation, as well as the Iran hostages. But I was going to say, yeah, I remember some older frat brothers. I lived in the Cap House at Indiana University, and some older frat brothers would come down from time to time. They was telling the younger frat brothers how in the 70s, they used to have orgies on the third floor. And we was like, what? They was like, oh, hell yeah, man. They was like, all the frats was having orgies in the 70s, man. Come on, man. We was all having orgies. I mean, they talked about it so matter-of-factly, like it wasn't. See, whereas now, man, you don't even hear people really, unless they associate with some kind of swingers club, you don't hear nobody talking about no orgies and shit. But anyway, yeah, man, women became, it's like women were shackled by society, and starting with the mid to late 60s, them shackles was free, and they just start wild,
yes,
going to any desire they wanted to. But what I'm saying now is that starting with no later than the mid 90s, they start regretting that shit because they saw the detriments of that freedom that they were given. They saw how men didn't really respect their non-sexual companionship no more. That's why I wrote the Beta Male with that subtitle. The appeal of marriage for men in men's eyes start going down and down and down. And women were like, holy shit, what did we create? What did we get ourselves into? And now they're trying to get themselves out of it. But I'll say, and I'm going to shut up here. Speaking of turning points, I always identify the biggest turning point for me in terms of women having their voice, and particularly a negative voice towards men, and particularly black men, when Oprah Winfrey first rose to ascension. And of course, everybody know I was on one of her shows. She started just consistently sending out the message, black women, you don't need to kowtow to no man. You don't need to be this feminine, submissive wife, dutiful wife. Get your own money, make your own rule. And in so many words, she was saying, if you do want a man, make sure your man's the bitch. Like Stedman is to me.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure your man's the bitch. Number one, you don't even need a man, but if you're going to get a man, get a man. Like, I remember there was this couple she was interviewing, older black couple. And the brother was so respectful to his wife, which I didn't necessarily have a problem with. But you could tell the woman was kind of in her own way wearing the pants. And Oprah said to the woman, she said, oh, this is what I like to see. You have, she specifically used the word, she said, you have trained this man so well. You have trained him so well. And I was sitting there like, what? And I just knew the brother was going to have some pushback, but he just sat there, being calm and respectful. But her and the woman was giving each other high fives and stuff.
Go on, girl.
Like, this is what I'm talking about. Oprah was like, this is what I'm talking about. So anyway.
Yeah, and I'm at 2%, but no, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. But salute to the panel, salute to you. Great show, brother.
Yeah, you ain't gonna show me no chick that's happy in a female-led relationship. Mover.
Yeah, I've been muted for a minute.
Oh,
At least
well,
I
that
think.
ain't our fault.
No. That's
got
cool.
you
No,
you got your
I've
good
been
ARC
mostly.
clip.
Yeah, no, I was just ad libbing. I ain't say nothing, but no, good stuff. Piggyback on what ARC said, and this is sort of some discussion that takes place in this space when you talk about the women, figuring out sometime, let's say around maybe the 90s or whatever, that they figured out that artists that we wanted not exactly working out, but there's clearly a percentage of women who happy or like it just the way it is, like where would you put it as far as percentages of those that just, hey, they they enjoy this, they enjoy all this freedom, this doing what they want to do, how they want to do it, and they happy with it, they good with it, they don't need to see nothing change, they don't got buyer's remorse, so to speak. Anybody? Hello? Oh, I think everybody muted.
I mean, I thought you was asking him a question. I mean, answer
Well, no,
it quickly. I think the majority of women.
Oh wait, no, there go ARC. I think he back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that. Here's what I would say. It really depends on if their aspiration is marriage. Number one, yeah. If a woman doesn't aspire to get married, she's satisfied with how everything is going in society.
Right.
She ain't got no gripes. And if she getting the dick she want, she making her own money. She probably got at least a small roster of platonic friends that give her all the non-sexual attention she want. She good to go. That woman right there good to go. She ain't complaining about shit.
Right.
The women here are the women who are probably the most disgruntled. And it's been talked about by myself and a number of other content creators. And again, this is even in my books. Here's the woman who's most frustrated is women that starting with the age of 18 were beautiful, sexy, had dick being thrown at them. And this is what they thought. This was their initial strategy. I'm going to get all this dick I want between, say, 18 and 29. And then when I turn 30, I'm going to find me a nice, easy to manage, easy to train beta male, get married, have some kids. And then this is relates why my title is the Beta Male Revolution. As beta males start finding out more information and getting more red pill aware, once this same woman I just talked about turned 30, thinking she was going to have all these guys lined up at her door, they was like, oh, bitch, I don't want you. You done fucked all these niggas out here. You know, and anybody talking about you in the streets, and you think I'm going to wife you up? Oh, hell no. So now she's pissed. And she's mainly pissed at those guys, whether you call them beta, non-select, combination of both, who didn't fit in her strategy the way she expected them to. She didn't expect them to be rebellious. So them the ones that's going to get on somebody's podcast and say, you know what? These black men ain't shit. They ain't shit. What she's really saying, I can't believe they ain't trying to marry me. As good looking as I am. I was like homecoming queen my senior year in high school. When I was in my late teens and throughout my 20s, guys was just offering me dates and throwing dick at me on a weekly basis. And now all these guys who are non-select beta males ain't gonna come trying to, get me as a wife or a girlfriend. What's wrong with them? As good looking and sexy as I am. And so those are the women that are pissed, man. Because everybody know Tom Lakis even used to talk. Tom Lakis, I should say, used to talk about. He had a term called former hotties. He's always talking about former. I interviewed this guy on Blog Talk named Steve Penner. He called them former beauty queens. These are the women that are having the hardest time in today's dating scene. Again, it's women who are considered very beautiful, very sexy, between roughly 18 and 29. Then they thought they was going to be easily able to snatch up a husband, but now they've gone up to 35, 39, 43, 45. And they still ain't never had a wedding ring on their finger. And now, once their biological clock expires, what man is really going to find them appealing if he can't get them pregnant and raise children? And a lot of men, when they were still in the range where they could give children, a lot of men didn't want to get them pregnant because they had a reputation as a hoe.
Mm.
So that's why I tell when I've done consultations with women, I tell them bluntly that it's kind of, this is gonna sound contradictory, but here it go. In one respect, society gave women the freedom to behave sexually just like men.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say technically, did they deserve to have that right? That's debatable. That's one thing that's definitely debatable. But here's the problem, man. Because men are different. Men are more territorial. Men are more possessive. Men don't want to turn a hoe into a housewife. Some men do. There's a small percentage that don't mind. But the vast majority of men don't. It leads to the lesson that, no, y'all were never meant to be just like us. Because there's social penalty. It might not have a social stigma that it had, say, in the 40s and 50s, but still, men, you gonna get that scarlet letter on you. And a lot of women, they having a hard time with that. They basically saying, I think a lot of them are saying to their fellow feminists, like, okay, y'all sold us a lie. Y'all said we was gonna be able to have it all, but we can't. And see, even again, I got to bring Oprah. Even to me, Oprah sold that lie to a lot of women.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
made $1 billion off of it.
Yeah, she basically sold the lie. You could have it all. You could basically get your freak on, and you can find a husband who's going to, be on your beck and call, and you could be on the cover of magazines. You can have children, blah 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 blah. But what the vast majority of women found out is that no, that ain't really the case, because these brothers don't want, particularly here in the Black community, the sisters is like, these brothers ain't trying to marry me though.
What's interesting is Kevin had technically, when you look at that Jessica Wong and that Kevin Samuels and Jessica Wong like 4-part series he had with her, that she's 29 years old, and one of the things that she was saying was she was talking about how she didn't look like, she started entering into her peak beauty at probably like 25, 24. And if you actually look and go through her Instagram, I could realize why she would say that, because she's got some of the older pictures there. And that's the typical, I didn't have all my curves and hips in all the right places and all of that formed out, which makes sense why she would do the swimsuit model thing. But the point is, it's almost like Kevin is telling her at 29, the party is going to be over. Like the guy, I say this, that you have the 0.01%, the 1%, and the 10%. That's the level she perceives she's playing at. So you can say that dudes are still going to be in your inbox, but the dudes that count according to her, and then we're talking about the genetic currency dude too. So the 6-foot dudes, they're going to have options just based on that, the select part. That's where your 50% stuff is. You're going to feel that. You're going to feel that in the stuff you're focused on. Not on all these dudes that they just give you empty calorie attention that you don't care about. So my point is, she's going to be entering that in a couple of years. You also saw that with Brittany Renner, where Brittany Renner really started getting crazy when she started turning 27 years old. So like, that's when she really started feeling. That's when that PJ thing started, because she tried to cash out getting a younger dude. Because I remember she mentioned that when she was 26, like, I'm turning 27. Oh my God, I'm about to get out of the game. The point is this. That's the beginning of that. And then you see a chick like Ashanti, a Carrie Hilson, who are normal dudes would be like, they still fine. But Ashanti, Nelly was her dude, didn't make it work. And so now I can show you the stages of what you're talking about. Like when you're in your late 20s, then you get in your 40s. Like Megan Good is still fine as hell, but she's 40. Once she gets 45, it ain't really you can't put a baby in her no matter how much she looks. And that's something you got to pay attention to. So typically this is why older Black men are more likely to deal with it, like maybe late 50s, 60s, because guess what? They don't care about that, because they would have had kids already and stuff like that. If the chick still looks as good and they got the money. My point is, we can actually trace every stage depending on what celebrity we're talking about. And then you talk about what's her name on Fox Soul that was with 50 Cent? What's her name? Vivica Fox. Yeah, so we can trace this now to where you show women that are like in their early 20s. We can say, we now have your future. We have you in your late 20s. We have you in your 40s. We have you in your 50s. Playing this game, and you can see in real time how this works. All that BBL bullshit, which is relatively new compared to your generation, the ass thing,
Oh yeah.
You know, you can see them now trying to get it pulled out, you know, because it's affecting them. You can see all of that. So it's just more augmenting what you were saying, that we can now see, which is why this matters. We bring it up for the people at the peanut gallery that act like it don't, because you need to make this clear to people, because people try to make this magical, like, oh, well, they're going to figure it out. Maybe they will, but the numbers are usually won't. Oh, last thing too, 75% of women, only 1 in 4% of black women will ever get married. So if you extrapolate from that, that's a 75% pool that generally would be cool with this. And then you got to add in for the fact the women that want to get married but can't get married. Then you got to add in the fact these chicks that got delusional expectations, maybe because they aged out or because they were on, they never qualified for the type of dudes they want, because women used to not want dudes. They got to make 6 figures. I had a bitch say that, why do we need to listen to men? I mean, they need mediocre showed this. It was a chick that said you need millions of dollars in order to take care of a household. And the fact that she said that, now to be fair, she was a lesbian and she said that after the fact. But this is what's in these chicks' heads now. 6 figures ain't enough to some of these chicks. To them, 6 figures is regular, ARC.
Oh, I know from living in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably wild out there in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I could see that in LA being
it ain't
like that. But you got bitches in North
it ain't
Carolina
necessarily
pulling
like
that
that.
bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, if North Carolina anything like Michigan, like, I mean, well, man, some places in Michigan where the cost of living a little higher, but there's a lot of places here.
LA, Miami, New York, I can account for that delusion a little bit.
Yeah, but a story to tell in the building. We've been in the building for a minute, which that super chat been sitting up there for a while. He says, Ed, I think somebody put Jemele Hill up to this. Let's taking it back to the original topic. I don't know why people always want to go there and think that somebody got put up to this, like there's some evil overlords making them tweet certain things. Like, no, you go look at her timeline, her history. That's the type of stuff that she tweet regularly.
Remember the black men this is the same bitch that retweeted, and yeah, I'm standing on those terms. I'm using that for a reason. That's me, Edward. This is the same bitch that put retweeted black men or the white men of the black community when a whole bunch of basketball players was caping for her to protect her job with ESPN. And that's one reason why I get angry at Jemele Hill in particular, because black men actually cape for her. What that other dude with his and hers put his career on the line for her. You know, dudes came out and put real skin in the game for her. And this is the bullshit that she tries to pull. I don't give a damn if she want to talk about, oh, well, this is just a whole bunch of podcasts. No, the hell with that. Because you notice she don't mention, if she want to talk about Fresh and Fit, she don't mention they not black, they not ADOS or African American. So you notice how they never mention that?
Nobody really cares about that. Well, I'll pass to you.
Well, it matters. It don't matter about the ADOS, but they're not African American. So that means we got to account for what foreign niggas say about black women too, for some reason. Anyway.
Well, I find it fascinating if a lot of them say the same things, but that's a whole nother story.
Or they got white audiences that definitely validate what they're saying because they get more money for saying it. Go ahead.
But all right, yeah, go ahead, ARC.
Oh, I was just gonna quickly say, if you remember, see, this shows you the mindset of Jemele Hill. When she was employed by ESPN, she would go on Twitter, dogging out President Trump and a whole bunch of other men she didn't care for. And her employer, now back in the day, if your employer gave you an employee handbook or just gave you verbal guidelines that, hey, you can do this, but you can't do that, you either obeyed that boss or you got a new job. And they told her, they gave her a warning. They said, basically, Jemele, chill out on that. Because you're making ESPN look political. And she basically, in her own way, said, fuck y'all. What y'all gonna do?
Exactly. Typical black.
Like, fuck y'all, ESPN. Wait, I'm a black woman. Are y'all really gonna fire me and look like you're racist against black women? Surely you're not gonna do that. You ain't gonna. It's like she tested them, like, you ain't gonna fire me. I'm a minority hire and a female hire. Y'all ain't gonna fire me. And ESPN said, okay, bitch, there you go. There's the door. You're released back to the public.
Yeah, and they started getting rid of a lot of people, not just black folks, black women, but even some of the white feminists too. They started that was really the start of them starting to remove even what's her last name, Beetle. They started getting a lot rid. Yeah, they started getting rid of a lot of folks because it got too crazy. Even the I forget what the chick that she ended up going to NBC. That was the most recent black. She was an up and comer. They
Starts
had
with a C. What's her name?
I forget. I mean, which says a lot that because I didn't. But they replaced her with the other chick, the fine sister. They always got a replacement. And the thing is, what you see is chicks like Jemele Hill. You would think that that's where her money is in a podcast. So it's a lot. Money. You're right about the money because that's what I reason as to why Joe Budden did what he did with Nikki, talking about clapping his hands, talk about yes, because when you look at him in academics, there's always a money aspect. And I actually brought that up the other day.
Well, I don't necessarily buy that. I mean, I think ARC's point was definitely on point because she was trying to say what she wanted to say when she was with ESPN. They tried to threaten her. She put her foot down. They fired her.
In general.
I know, but I'm making a general point too that when they try to talk, when it comes to this whole media game, and people try to make it seem like black people in the media got somebody controlling what they're saying, I say bullshit, bullshit. Especially the ones who can strike out on their own and do their own thing. Now, I mean, granted, if you work for somebody and they controlling you, they smacking your wrist when you tweet something they don't like, yeah, okay, you can say that person ain't fully free, but there's so many of them that's basically doing their own thing right now. They making their own companies, their own business. They can say what they want to say. So it's like that goes. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Bernard, you're a perceptive, observant person. Here's what how can you usually tell what a well-known celebrity it does have somebody like in their PR department influencing what they say? What would be the number one?
Maria Taylor was the name of the ESPN chick.
You said when can you normally tell when they got somebody in their PR department influencing what they say?
Certain scenario, I almost can always tell.
Oh, they're always apologizing.
Yeah,
they got to do an apology tour.
Somebody will say something that's really, you can tell is really candid, very real and authentic. It's representing how they really feel. And then a few days later, they come out with this really polished, eloquent apology. I don't know what I was thinking when I
Nick Cannon,
Snoop.
Snoop. Oh man, Snoop got damn near emasculated, man, after he went after Gayle King. I mean, I did a whole episode, so I ain't gonna rehash on that. But yeah, man, I've seen it with so many celebrities, man, where they say something that's bold and unapologetically straightforward, and then less than a week later, their apology, you can almost tell their PR person wrote it. It don't even sound like them.
Yep, all day. Shout out to Black Uru Strikes. He says, and I didn't even get to click on this one. It went away. It's kind of harder for me to see him, but I'm catching him. He says, download all Missandra's media. It will disappear. Thank you for that super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you, Sir Anthony in the building says, salute to Bernard Riley. Solid panel. Great stream. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. I might be on the brink of wrapping this thing on up. We certainly had a good conversation. Obsidian, you haven't said nothing in a while. Are you still with us? Obsidian going once. Obsidian going twice. All right. We in here. I hate to end the stream when the numbers is good, but I ain't trying to be on the airwaves forever.
So. They'll have you on here 5 hours if you let them. But I may do a quick transition stream so y'all could be aware of that, where I throw some of my thoughts in. But yeah, man, the trust thing is always going to be, as far as the what you were saying with the people are motivated. Black men got to stay out the fucking rabbit hole. That's why y'all niggas like Alex Jones so much. You niggas are way too you're way too sick. You got too much sensitivity to the rabbit hole conversation. Now, there is something to be said about that, but a lot of y'all don't know how to pull back from that. So it's always got to be like I said, it can't be just a black chick is doing what she's doing. There's got to be some extra motivation y'all want to add on to it. But anyway, that I'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. But as far as this conversation, the trust thing is the thing I want to end on. And this is, I'm seeing, I'm not paying, I don't care about what Move is saying so much, but I'm seeing she's consistently chatting. And the thing about it is these little games that black women play, this kind of disingenuous conversation, dudes the dudes that count and the dudes that matter definitely understand that that's what you all are doing. Now they may play with y'all a little bit because it matches their it makes sense for whatever that individual black man's agenda is, but for the most part in the real world, on like what is this big time real estate dude, like he's big time on social media, his name is Maxwell something, and he just got married. He got married to this Lily White chick. He is not talking about red pill, he is not talking about none of this. He's in the real estate game kind of like Andre Hatchett, and he's getting married happy. Dudes are moving on, and they're moving on without you, and y'all are, at the end of the day, y'all are gonna be the ones looking stupid. And that's the thing. It's like you all don't have this realization that you think you want to have this language or talk in this frequency that we're gonna talk to these dudes like they're fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And like they don't, and so dudes are humoring you and trying to have this conversation because they care about black women. They're involved with black women. But at the end of the day, man, these Z's don't give a fuck. And y'all, you got chicks that are 38, 40, 41 playing games, yo. And it's like just because I don't bring it up all the time, even what you did, I'm not criticizing at all. We don't got a plentiful amount of women, Bernard. So you had a good cast yesterday. But even on, shout out to Jackie. But even at that night, and shout out to Brenda too. And I'm not gonna pick on the chick from the UK, but it's like, yo,
no, that's the homie. I like her.
You're
I like
not
him
African. No, and I'm not gonna beat her up, but I'm just saying, you don't. You're in the UK, so I get it. But African American men dealing with African American women or black women in the United States is a completely different dynamic than in the UK. For the first thing is you got a 50% date out rate in the UK. That's way more acceptable in the UK, and that is like a hidden check against a lot of that fuckery. So the complaints that she has are not going to be the same. They're not going to translate into the complaints in like African American world. So when we talk about this amongst how black people relate, it's really not valid. But obviously that's a show, and I'm not trying to critique that. But my point is, you have all this disingenuous kind of language that these women keep using, and these are women that try to say, well, we're here to try to create a better community. Well, if you are, then there's going to have to be a certain amount of candor. Even if you say crazy shit, I need you to be candid about the crazy shit, which is why I always thank women for being candid. Even Nicki Minaj. I think Nicki Minaj was being very candid. It's too much bullshit. And I'll talk about that.
What do you mean she was being candid? About?
I think she was saying what she thought. I think she believed what she was saying. When she was talking about black men, I love, I'm not trying to be one of them chicks when it comes to black men. And I think she was being candid.
You think that part was genuine?
I think she was being. Somebody made. I think it was you that made the caveat of now she's saying that with her son, but that's reflective of the type of dudes that she's been with. Now I think she was being candid when she said eat a dick. But the thing is, you got women. Yeah. I think she was being candid in both, because if you actually look at her dating history, it reflects what she's talking about. Say what you want to. She was with Safari for a minute. She was with the dude that brought her to the dance for a long time. And it is what it is. But you don't see that candor in these conversations. You see a lot of political speak. Like, it's almost like if you work for the plant. I'm gonna say this, I'm done. It's like when you work for the plant, or you work for, let's say you're in Michigan, General Motors, and then you got somebody that has to talk to the workers, and they got this designated person in management that they tend to be pretty good with talking to the little people, making sure the union don't get riled up and all of that, but communicating to them this is what the fuck is gonna be. So they talk to you in this language that's very tailored, almost like you're fucking stupid. That's how black women talk to us. And black men are really, quite frankly, tired of that bullshit. And that is eroding the trust. And quite frankly, I think it is already at a point of no return. It's just black women too fucking stupid to realize that. And then they say they want a female Kevin Samuels. I'm gonna end with this. The female version of Kevin Samuels is not gonna tell you what you want to hear. They are not gonna be the person that's going to tell you, oh, niggas ain't shit, niggas ain't shit. Because guess what? Every other bitch already says that. They're gonna tell you a lot of what Kevin says. And y'all are not gonna like that. So a lot of y'all wishing for the female Kevin Samuels, you better be careful. Because Ayanna Van Zandt was close to that. And y'all ran her ass off the air. Anyway.
Yeah. It's interesting. Oh no. It was all good. It was all good. You said something about Nicki Minaj being candid or something. That was an interesting thing. I think she for the most part. I think she for the most part was. but anyway, excellent show, everybody. Excellent show. I do appreciate everybody coming on through. Everybody who liked, share, subscribe, super chat at Cash App, hit the super chat or the Cash App or the like button or the share button, or in any way, shape, or form, participated in this show. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. We are I don't even know how to end the stream today because I'm doing it on a whim. All right. We out of here, y'all. Peace. We gone. Oh, wait, no, we're not going yet. This damn laptop.